Welcome back, everybody, to Nerdrotic, and this is the Nerdrotic Nooner, and I am Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. Greetings, everybody. I am on OBS, so this might be janky. This is probably going to be the second or third to last live stream before I get my new computer on Friday. I plan to do one tomorrow on Nerdrotic Live because there's some catching up I have to do with letters and stuff, and I just haven't had time since I got back from Vegas because I'm trying to get this channel rolling again. So I'm in the middle of making like 3 videos right now. And I had to stop midway through to do this live stream because, it's Wednesday. It's hump day, and we need to do the Nooner. At least I think it's Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday. You lose track of days, especially when you come back from Vegas. Greetings, everybody in the chat. There is a lot of news, and I think it's directly, indirectly involving the Fandom menace. I think they've had a lot to do with some of the news that we've heard from the last 24 to 48 hours. Yes, boycott episode 9. I think a lot of people are just going to do that naturally by not going because they don't care. Of course, it's a Star Wars film. It'll do gangbusters the first weekend, but it's that second weekend. I predict a 65 to 70% drop possibly, unless it's just great, which I guess it could be. A broken clock is right twice a day. J.J. Abrams can pull something out of his arse. I have no idea. I don't expect that, to be honest with you. And if I didn't have the channel, I would not care. I don't care about Star Wars. That's how much they've killed any love I had for that franchise anymore. It is gone, and it will never come back. There's no way they can get me back. So Bob Iger, who I am not a fan of. Never been a fan of Bob Iger, won't be a fan of Bob Iger. He will certainly not be getting my vote if he runs for, I don't care if he runs for postmaster. I don't care. I would not vote for a guy who's hung his hat on buying shit. That's all he's ever done. And honestly, I don't see his legacy being anything other than absorbing other IPs and destroying them completely. Now, apparently there used to be some people on the Disney board that kept this in check, and they are all gone now. But just forget Star Wars. I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans here, but what he's done to Marvel is unforgivable. And I know a lot of people, the MCU is doing great. Well, the MCU was doing great. And I think what we've heard, I just did a video on this, and a lot of other people did too, with Taika Waititi, with his act, doing his best Rian Johnson. I think, I think I'm just making sure, sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm making sure I'm live. It's just more of the same. He is a true Marvel creative, acting just like the Marvel Comics creatives have been acting over the last 3 years. And I think this has everything to do with what's happening. And now it's affecting DC Comics. That'll be my next video. I'm going to put my 2 cents in on the Forbes article and the Bounding in the Comics article. That should probably drop a couple hours after this live stream. And but we can talk about they blame the Dark Phoenix on some of the losses, and that's the biggest problem here. So the comic book industry is in a it's on hospice, and it's been on hospice. It's been dying for decades. Due to years and years of complacency of the direct market, Diamond Comics, comic book retailers, just kind of living in their own bubble and not seeing the big picture, which, is fine when everything is fine. But over the last 5 years, comic book retailers have had every opportunity to band together as a united voice for the first time ever to save their own asses, and they never did it. And I reached out for comment from a couple of retailers for the video I'm going to do. And I'll kind of keep them. Well, I can't say who it was. But one of the retailers denies anything is wrong still, and calling it propaganda. And the other one had a very long and wordy comment that I'm going to save for the video, but somewhat agreeing with most of what we have to say, but not acknowledging the treatment of the fandom. And that's the one thing, other than Bounding into Comics and Bleeding Fool and and Cosmic Book News and those of us here on YouTube, nobody is talking about. I think Galaxy's Edge being empty, I think a factor in that is the fandom menace and the treatment of the fans. Now, there's other factors. There's only one ride there. I saw it for myself. I was with Jeremy and other members of the fandom menace, and that Millennium Falcon ride is a joke. It's terrible. And I don't see that being improved unless they just throw original trilogy stuff in there, which they're eventually probably going to have to do. They're going to probably have to remake the whole damn thing. I wouldn't be surprised. That'll probably be after Bob Iger is gone. Bob Iger is just here to set up Disney streaming D+ is what I like to call it. And they're going to bundle it in now with ESPN and Hulu. And then he's going to take off and leave somebody else holding the bag. I'm guessing a strong female will be the next CEO of Disney. I know I'm reaching on that one, but that's my best guess. We find out today that they're going to remake more TV shows for Disney Plus. And so we're going to get the female-led Home Alone and the female-led Cheaper by the Dozen and the female, what else? Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We'll get the female-led Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And yeah, that's what we're going to get. So that'll be worth, I guess it's going to be $12.99 for the bundle. And of course I have to get it for the channel. But again, if I didn't have the channel, I wouldn't care. And that's the question for you guys is how many streaming services are you going to put up with? Now, how does this relate to the comic book industry? Well, because all these companies have consolidated and taken over other companies, they have put themselves in massive debt. So now they really know what it's like to be Netflix and Amazon in the early days. And they don't have the time that Netflix and Amazon did. Netflix had years of swimming in red ink because they had that value, that perceived value. And they're losing a bit of it now because of these streaming wars, but they don't, I mean, listen, these streaming wars are going to be over in a couple years, if that. And I see zero. I think the most, if I was not doing the channel, I think 2 would be the most I would get, and it would probably just be Netflix and Amazon, or Amazon and something else. Amazon is losing Doctor Who. I don't even care at this point. I own all the physical. Most of the physical copies. I still need a couple of some classic Doctor Who, but I'm just going to buy physical media. And we're going to see that go away, by the way. If these streaming services are going to work, I've said it here before, they got to bring everything home. They can't have anybody else showing their stuff, like Star Trek is still on Netflix, and you can't produce physical media, and that's the only way your streaming service will survive. And then you still have to fight piracy. And yeah, so how does this relate to the comic book industry? Well, it becomes a redundancy, basically. It's not making any money. EVS did a couple of really good videos on this. I'm going to be doing a video on it. And, he explained it within there that he showed that the comic book industry 10 years ago was a $600 million industry. Like, that's what it made total. Now, they came out recently saying it's $1 billion industry. But you got to remember what they're including in that. They're including the Scholastic numbers, which is not entirely true. So when it comes to comic book retailing, they are just a smidge of that now. Brian Hibbs just talked about this recently in The Beat. I could probably bring up that article, and you can see how big of a piece, there it is, how big of a piece of the pie that Scholastic takes. And Scholastic is it's basically a government bailout this is interesting. Let me show you this. This is not the article I wanted to go to, but yeah, that's the article when he was pondering. There we go. That's my comic shop. That picture is actually from when I owned it, but this was from an article where Brian was thinking about selling the comic shop, and we actually talked about it a little bit, or maybe me going back, and I said no. But yeah, that's from when I owned it, and that was my life-size Iron Man right there. But Brian wrote, he showed like a pie graph of the comic industry and how much of it is scholastic now. It's unbelievable. Tilting at windmills. And guys, it's going to be, and gals, sorry about that. It's going to be like this until I get my, my new computer. And I'm working off of one screen, and the Mac can barely handle this. You know how rare it is for a Mac's fan to kick on? It's very rare, and my fan is on right now. So hopefully this... Oh, no, that's not it. Give me a second here. They'll be tilting at windmills. Let's try this. There it is. We got it right here. Hello from France. That's cool as hell. So, greetings. Are we going to be able to see this pie graph? There we go. So let's do that. Look at this pie graph of the 2018 Western publishers by quantity. And you see DC Comics, you see Image, Dark Horse, Andrews, and then you see Scholastic, 33%. And this looks like, where's Marvel in this? I don't see Marvel. So it's probably everything other than Marvel. And 33% of that is Scholastic. So it's not a real number. And it's much worse than they say it is. And this has everything to do with why I didn't go back. When I started this channel, it was just as a hobby for something to do to keep me involved in geek culture. Because my wife got tired of hearing me complain about things. So I'm like, I'll do a podcast with a friend of mine. And we started a podcast. And nobody listened for 4.5 years, and that's fine. It was a lot of practice. My mom and my sister were listening. And then, Doctor Who happened, and The Expanse happened, and the channel took off, and you guys know the story. But it was just meant to be a hobby to get me through for my 5-year plan to start my comic shop. And it was about 7 or 8 months ago when I made the decision not to open it. And this is something I have been planning, saving money, buying inventory. I have a garage full of stuff that I need to get rid of because it's just taking up room. It's stupid when you own a house and you have to get storage. And I have to buy storage now to make room in my garage so I can actually park my car in it. Now, I can't park my FJ in it because it's too small. But yeah, I had a plan of opening a store. Now I'm still going to be opening the store, but it's not going to be a traditional comic store. I'm not going to be selling new comic books of any kind. I'm not going to even bother getting a Diamond account. I have no interest in it. It's going to be vintage books, comics, toys. That's it. And maybe some vinyl mixed in. And that's after I move from San Francisco. I plan to do a pop-up here in the next few months. Hopefully around the holidays, and I can get rid of some of that stuff here in San Francisco. Once that happens, I'll let you guys know, and we'll be doing broadcasts from the location. Mrs. Nerdrotic is already looking for locations, I believe, or scouting it out a little bit. And yeah, so for in November and December, maybe late October, probably just November, December, I'll have a pop-up location here. How's that? It's not going to affect the channel in any way. I'm still, I'll probably work there like 5 hours a day, and I'll just make videos. So there. But what played a factor in my decision not to reopen a store was the creatives at Marvel Comics. I could have worked around the business. My business model always worked around not relying on new releases. Now, that did very well for me when I was running the shop, but things were good in the comic book industry. When I sold the store, That was like the best time. And it didn't feel like the best decision in my life at the time, and it wasn't, and it was a crappy time in my life. But, it's funny how time changes things. And it turned out to be the best decision of my life to sell my comic shop in 2013 when things were great. Marvel Now had just started, and this is before it crashed and before SJW Marvel firmly kicked in. And because there was no way I could have sold comics in 2017 with the milkshake crew and all that crap. I'd have lost my freaking mind, and I would have been the worst nightmare at retailer convention, at retailer summits. I already wasn't very nice to them in the first place. So as you can see, I'm pretty opinionated on that stuff. So I decided not to open a shop, continue with the channel because of Sana Ahmed and of that sort. And listen, there's a lot of content creators here, EVS included, your boy Zach, Just Some Guy, Englentine, Comics Division, too many to name, that have been warning this is going to happen for years now. And now it's happening. And these are the people who, there's still people out there who are in denial. There's people in denial about Star Wars being dead. And, I'll repeat again, when we say Star Wars is dead, it's dead in Star Wars terms, as far as it being relative, as far as it being relevant. I'm sorry, not relative, relevant. And it's just going to be another IP. And that's all it's become. It's become the Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not, Disney didn't spend billions of dollars to have just a garden variety franchise. And that's all it is. And they're going to make it worse. It's going to be worse in the next few years. I'm not excited about The Mandalorian. I'm tired of fracking prequels. I'm tired of stories that take place between stories. It feels cheap, and it's a ripoff. So a lot of Disney Plus is filled with prequels and remakes and nothing moving anything forward because they're saving it for the MCU. The MCU that, if it continues down this road of Taika Waititi, and it looks like the MCU is going to be more like Captain Marvel than Winter Soldier. And that's not an MCU that interests me at all. At all. Star Wars is merely an animated corpse now, says our wonderful wrench, Chris Persia. I agree. Let's get to some super chats here. God, I hate looking at myself. There we go. It looks like the stream is holding up, so that's good. That's good. I mean, it's not perfect. I'm cheap. Believe it or not, I'm cheap. I buy used everything. When I get like action figures, I make sure they're open box. Like, when I buy a monitor, I buy open box. Like, I hate buying anything brand new. It's just the thing. It's a waste of money. Probably from my days in the car industry, just like never buy a new car. It's such a waste. It's better to just, get a used one with 50,000 miles on it these days. It'll last you forever. Nicholas Horton for £2. Hail Gary. A very late good evening. Good evening. Yeah. What time is it over there? It's, 8 midnight? No, it's 10 over there in the UK. Oh, Nicholas, man, I hope I get to meet you when I go over there. You've been around here for a long time, my friend. So hail to you, and thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. Sheev Burger for $1.99. Director needs to shut his mouth and take a hike. Ah, yes. You've been waiting to do that, haven't you, Sheev? You've been just, I can't wait for somebody to live stream. That's good. Well said, sir. Good dad joke. Taika Waititi, I think he thinks he's being funny. I'm going to try to get into his head. I have never had a problem with the guy. I thought he was kind of funny. I like his humor. I don't like that. He's completely turned me off. I think he's shown his true colors. And Disney, I can't remember what YouTuber said this, so I apologize, but another YouTuber said it. And I totally agree with it. Disney right now needs to start a policy right effing now that everybody involved who works creatively on your projects that's on Twitter needs to treat fans with respect or needs to stop working at Disney. That is a rule I had at my fracking comic store. And this is prior to all this crap. was when you worked for my store, even on your personal stuff, you could not get political because you reflected my store. You had the option of not working for me, and that's fine. But if you wanted to work for me, even on your personal Facebook, you couldn't get political. We were political, we just atheists. We didn't talk about it. That was the only. I had two rules in the comic store. I had to know you to use the bathroom and no politics. And everybody got along just great. And Disney needs to do that. Yeah, it might be a little invasive to say you can't do it on your personal stuff, but you know what? People live for that in Hollywood. You know, my short time working there, people had their identities wrapped up in where they worked. And if you had a Disney work badge, if you worked for Disney, man, that's the first thing they put on their Facebook and on their Twitter. And guess what? You represent the company. Even on your if you put that I work at Disney on your social media, you are wearing your uniform all the time. And you know what? The companies have the power to say, hey, you know, you can't do that. And listen, there's all kinds of clauses in contracts. Now, again, that might sound invasive, but you're there to service the customer, and you know, you should Taika Waititi should focus on his creative work, and all he had to do was shut up, make a good movie, and if he made a good movie, he would have proved all of us wrong, and I think a lot of us would be happy to admit it. I said that about Captain Marvel. I said that about Doctor Who prior to it coming out. I didn't think it was going to be good, but if it was, I would have gone, man, I was wrong. That was a great movie. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trying to think what movie I was totally against and I ended up liking it. And you know what? It's funny. Okay, so I have to say it with an explanation, but I was absolutely against Mad Max Fury Road. I was like, F that. No Mel Gibson. No way. Blah, blah, blah. I ended up liking the movie, but that was back in 2016, and I didn't catch all the symbolism in it that I know about now. So I think about the movie a lot differently now than I did then. But at the time, I liked it. And I admitted I was wrong on the podcast because I was giving it tons of shit. And I came back going, you know what? I liked it. This was before podcast, but Braveheart. I saw the trailers. I thought it was going to be the dumbest movie of all time. I ended up loving it. So, you know, it happens all the time. But that's all Taika Waititi needed to do is shut up and do his work, focus on his job, make a good movie. And if you make a good film, nobody can say anything about that. You know, Captain Marvel wasn't a good film. Thor Ragnarok was an okay film. I don't like what it set up for Thor, and I explained that in the video. But at the time when I saw it, without any of the context of the future, of course, I thought it was okay. It was disposable. It didn't rock my world, but I didn't hate it. But it certainly looks like that's what the MCU is going to be in the future. Just a bunch of gags. And the thing is, they're trying to copy a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, but what Guardians of the Galaxy had that Thor Ragnarok didn't was tons of heart. But I'm worried about anything made right now. Honestly, I'm skeptical even of stuff I like. The Expanse, I'm like, oh, don't go woke. You know, you're already political. Just, you know, don't dial it up. Be what you are. And hopefully that remains the case, but we will see. So far, so good. The trailer looks pretty good. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead for $4.99. I would love to see you do a Mike Zero parody video. Make sure you end your video with the same music and say sub for more future Star Wars content. I can do that. I have to work on my impression of him, but I think I can do it. I'm okay with impressions sometimes. I got obsessed with him though. Did you guys hear the story? Jeremy told me about him. I knew he was out there, but I never really watched any of his content. And I watched like 15 videos in a row and I felt hypnotized. I was like, Mike Zero, I need to watch more Mike Zero, more future Star Wars content. I got to get that New Yorkie kind of accent. I liked long hair Mike Zero when he showed himself on the camera. It looked like he was, in a Dawkins cover band. Michael Maloney, 5 hours. Clownfish dropped a video about 5 hours ago. Disney wants to reboot Home Alone, and its stock is dropping like a rock. Yes, because Bob Iger said some very curious things today. I'm going to paraphrase what he said, but because, okay, let me preface this by saying when a CEO tries to temper expectations, a clever stockholder will sniff out that this is a disaster. All right. Because CEOs don't ever temper anything unless they absolutely have to and the shit is on fire. So Bob Iger, and I'm paraphrasing, said it's going to be a couple years before we make any money off Fox, which means Fox is a dumpster fire. It's a damn dumpster fire that they overpaid for, thanks to Comcast. And yeah, it's going to bite them in the ass, and we're going to start seeing things get cut. This happened with Disney before in the 90s. I'm sorry if you've heard this before, but in the 90s, Disney decided to buy sports franchises and stadiums. And they, sports franchises and stadiums, it was kind of a trend. Corporations were owning them. Sports franchises don't work like that. They need to be the toy of a billionaire. That's what they are made for. They're not really there to make a lot of money. They're there to be a midlife crisis, a Corvette for a billionaire. That's what they are. And they are not good for corporations. They're not good for bottom lines or stockholders. And they had to sell off the Ducks and the Angels and the Big A and that arena down there. And it was all supposed to, they had ESPN Zone at downtown Disney. By the way, I like the ESPN Zone. They had pretty good bar food. It was pretty good. They had this cookie that they served up in an iron skillet that they put ice cream on. Oh my God, that was good. But yeah, they had to sell that stuff off. You don't think they'll do that to pieces of Marvel or pieces of an IP that they own? I think they would definitely do it with pieces of Fox IPs. And yeah, don't be surprised if they sell stuff off eventually, or get rid of redundancies. And Marvel Comics doesn't make them any real money. They are pamphlets. They are advertising. They are experiments. And that's all Marvel Comics has been. That's where they have been testing out all the diversity, and it's been a massive failure. It's been a massive failure. Now they're turning Marvel into a lifestyle brand, and it can survive like that for a while. But, superhero t-shirts aren't going to be in vogue forever. As a matter of fact, they've been popular before and gone out of popularity. People might not remember this, but superhero t-shirts, Superman shirts were huge in the late 70s. Everybody had a Superman t-shirt. Batman t-shirts were massively huge in the late 80s. Batman was fracking everywhere from 88 to 90. It was Guns N' Roses were wearing the t-shirts, and it goes away. These things come and go. So the lifestyle brand is only going to last as long as the trend lasts. Now, the superhero nerd trend has lasted a long time, but it's a trend. It will end. There will be a backlash against it, and something else will come along. Some bright, shiny light will distract the normies, and they'll go, find their Breaking Bad or whatever the hell or The Office or whatever the hell they're going to be into, or Big Brother. There'll be something like that to distract the normies. But so Ruin of House Roundhead, I'll do that. I have another idea for a video that somebody came up with on Instagram that I'll keep secret that I'm definitely going to do. It was the funniest idea. It's like, I've got to do that. I don't care if nobody watches it. It's the best idea I've ever heard. Mike, and thank you, Michael Maloney, for the $5. Clownfish TV, good channel. Good channel. They don't really consider themselves Fandom Menace, but they are. I just don't think they want to affiliate with it, which I understand. You want to do your own thing, but I subscribe. I like them. I like their little background song. I think it's a cool song. Hang on. What's going on here? All right. Disabled Llama for Australian $5. Gary, have you already got the maximum amount of RAM you can put in your Mac. If not, might be worth seeing if upgrading the RAM will help. Well, I upgraded the RAM by buying a new computer, Disabled Llama. It was time. Honestly, Macs aren't what they used to be. I used to be able to work on a Mac and I could run Final Cut Pro and After Effects at the same time, working on them both at the same time professionally, and the computer would last 5 years. This one is barely 2 years old, and it's already crapping out on me. And, it's time. I got to go back to PC. I know how to work on PCs, so I can do both. I prefer to edit on Premiere anyway. I love Premiere, and that's what I'm going to start editing. And you'll see some nicer features in the videos. Not much, because over editing takes time, and I actually want to bring you guys more content. The plan is 3 videos a day. Unless I'm live streaming, then it's 2 videos and a live stream. And I'm going to try to get them around the same time. I want to get on a schedule, because this not living life on a schedule is, last night I was up till 2 a.m. I can't do that. I'm too old for that shit. Actually, this morning's video, I could have dropped at midnight. I almost did. I came this close. I'm like, nah, I'll do it at 6 a.m. And it made no difference. I probably should have just dropped it at midnight. Can never figure out the algorithm. What would you guys think about me doing a video about, I kind of need to bitch about this, but I don't want to sound like a mega boomer. I mean, I'm 50. I don't give a shit, but I want to bitch about Hangouts. I'm really fracking pissed about that. I think it's short-sighted. I've looked everywhere to find an explanation from somebody on YouTube. I watched 2 Susan Wojcicki interviews, which, you know how hard that was? I think I would rather go back to like working at Burger King than watching Susan Wojcicki. I'm sorry, Susan. I know you're the boss of the place I'm at, and I'm sure you're a nice lady. Just not the best interviews, and they weren't very informative. The one thing I did find out is if you don't monetize your videos, according to her, it doesn't affect your placement. I don't believe it, but that's what she said. But they didn't mention anything about Hangouts. And it seems to me that maybe they thought Hangouts was something that people don't really use anymore. What they don't know is that little camera function they have. Nobody uses that. Get rid of that. Replace it with something, or give a recommendation. And I think there's something very curious about them not talking about it at all. And I think it might have something to do with Article 13. I don't know. I'm digging. I'm trying to find out, but I might do a video on that just to get it off my chest. But thank you, Disabled Llama. Yes, I'm dealing with the RAM by buying another computer. What's it say? CPU 17.3%, 30 frames per second drop frames. Ooh, a lot of drop frames, but it's only at 9.8%. Never had a streaming service and never will. I work for my local cable company and barely watch TV. I miss the struggles of just having 13 channels and only HBO. I'm just tired of new woke ideas. Captain Spire for $10. The thing is, the woke ideas aren't even new. These aren't even, yeah, I love how you put it. He put it in quotes, by the way, so he knows what he's talking about. Thank you, Captain Spire. There are no new woke ideas. They are repeating themselves constantly, patting themselves on the back, and it's laughable. I'm not even mad about it anymore. It's funny. I mock it, and I will, and that's what we need to continue to do. When we get mad about stuff, that's actually a victory for them. If we start mocking them, making fun of them, clowning them, that's when we'll have some impact. And when they see us raging, and listen, I get mad too, that's a win for them because they know they're getting to us, so they want to do it more. That's why Taika Waititi just felt as arrogant as can be and could just go out and slap around fans because he knew it would piss people off. Well, there's a way to fight that. Laughter works every time. I mean, just look at it for me personally. What gets to me more? Being embarrassed or having something make me angry? Well, I can anger my way through a lot of things. As Rage Against the Machine says, anger is a gift. It's an overlying feeling for usually fear, but it works. It sometimes works. It's not great. I don't recommend it all the time, but sometimes you can rage your way through something and get through it as long as you're not getting violent or anything like that. Of course, you just grind. You go, God damn it, we'll do this. But being embarrassed, totally different thing. And we need to show that every time they come out with these woke ideas, they are wearing bell bottoms and they have a mullet, and they're holding Beanie Babies. Okay, they're just out of touch and tired, and this is something that will be mocked someday, and I think it's starting to happen. We need more comedians who have balls, and I meant men and women, metaphorical balls, to take on the system, to not even speak truth to power, to mock power. Mock them incessantly. Okay, Mega Jetty 1, $2. Currently watching you from my watch party. Says hi. Oh, well, why are you watching me at your watch party? You're supposed to be at your watch party. I thought it was Thursday, Mega Jetty. Well, sorry. Well, maybe the next one. But thank you for the $2, Mega Jetty. Okay, how am I going to say this name? Ferocous Domain. Did I say that close to right? Correct. Ferocous Domain for $2. You sold your shop just in time. I did. I'll give you the quick story on that, guys and gals. So I'm very open about everything. So like doxing me would be kind of useless because there is definitely dirt on me, and I would just go, yeah, I did it. Here, let's see if we can get to the article. Let's get to the, I was written about in Bleeding Cool, and they only got part of the truth. I will give you the whole truth. If we can still find this article. Comic Outpost. Brian Hibbs of Comic Buys. There it is right there. You're at a very special live stream. A little story time, a little truth telling here. Here we go. That's good. That's all set there. All right. So this is from December 15th, 2013. And that is my shop as it looked when I sold it. Doesn't look like that now. And honestly, I mean, Brian, I love you, but my aesthetic was much better. If you could see all that carpet there, I laid that myself. It was carpet tile that I had to buy in South Dakota because if you bought it in California, you had to pay a tax, and it was like $13 a square foot. And if you bought it in South Dakota, it was like $5 a square foot. That is my life-size Iron Man, and life-size Spider-Man is on the other side. That's my big old banner. Toys and back issues everywhere. And you can see the stairway in the back and the left right there. That leads up to a loft with that was the dollar issue loft up on the top right there. So you go up these little stairs, and what's not pictured is the whole front area where I had a life-size Batman and Superman. You could see my Captain America and the Avengers video game all the way in the back right there. So my shop was doing pretty damn well. I had won Best of the Bay in 2008, and it took a while to get it going. I had bought a struggling store, but it's better to do that than to start one from scratch. It already had some customers. When I bought the store, it had about 75 subscribers. None of them were women. And by the time I sold my store, I had almost 400 subscribers, and 30% of them were female, which was, I had to work at it. And we had a giant kids section, which is not pictured here to the right of the picture towards the front of the store. And I think, I had the distinct advantage of I was one of two comic shops. There were 9 comic shops in the city, and I was one of 2 owners that actually had kids. So my kids hung out in the store. Parents felt comfortable bringing their kids. I wouldn't allow kids to be there alone. Parents tried to do that, would drop their kids off and leave, and I would scold them when they came back going, I'm not a goddamn babysitter and you don't know me. Don't ever fucking do that again, moron. And had a kid-friendly store. It was a traditional comic store, something that stuck out like a sore thumb in San Francisco because everybody wanted to be indie or manga or super high-end collectible. I wanted to be middle of the road, blue collar, traditional, superhero men and women in tights, primary colors comic store. And it worked. It worked great. And I was making money. I was able to, afford my a mortgage in San Francisco. Of course, it didn't hurt that the salon was taking off. Melissa's salon did way better than my comic shop ever did. But the comic shop did okay for a while. But then shit went to my head. It went to my head. I thought I was all that. And one of the worst things you could do in sobriety, well, there's two bad things you can do in sobriety. Stop going to meetings and start thinking that, I got this stuff figured out. One thing led to another. I relapsed. And all my success was literally blown, hail to snowflame, in a matter of months. Had to go to rehab, had to have other people run my store. They did the best they could, but they really, I needed to be there. This thing was an extension of me. And when I got back, things were rough and I had to make a decision. So it was still breaking even. I could have kept it open. And what I decided to do was focus on my sobriety because I had just relapsed and I thought the comic shop would endanger that. It was a heartbreaking decision, but I sold it. I was just going to shut it down, but I sold it. Brian Hibbs came in, and honestly, I wouldn't have sold it to anybody but him. I took other offers. I had better offers. I was seriously considering them, but I sold it to him. And because I wanted it to stay around for the customers, it was a freaking heartbreaking decision, but I had to do it. That's not mentioned here in the articles. They just say financial troubles. So Comic Experience runs pretty differently from Comic Outpost, but I want to assure you that we have no intention of changing the essential nature of the Outpost. Customers dictate the kind of store that exists, and we will be dedicated to bringing you to the same passionate and engaged love of comics service you received from Gary over the years. So Brian was nothing but nice. So here in the article, they basically said I had financial trouble, and that's the story at the time that I gave to everybody. But it was more of a snowflame trouble. We'll just say snowflame. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I'm sure you can all figure out. Snowflame is a supervillain from the DC universe that is a cocaine-powered superhero, where cocaine is his god, and he is the instrument of its will. So that's what happened to the comic shop. It was right up there, went in flames. It's still there to this very day. To this very day, it's still around, and it wouldn't have been if it wasn't for Brian, and it wouldn't have been if it wasn't for me. Now, I had purchased it from somebody, so that store has actually been there over 20-something years. I owned it for 10. It was always on an upward trajectory. I thought I had pretty good ideas. I think one of the biggest advantages was I had never worked in the comic book industry before, but I'd worked really blue-collar Joe jobs. And when I got into this industry, I was able to see things that other people weren't because they'd grown up in the comic book industry, and I'd ask a lot of questions. And listen, at first I thought I was maybe just mouthing off and being the new guy. It was later when I built a little confidence, I realized, I wasn't wrong about questioning the direct market and why aren't comics returnable? This is something I brought up constantly, and I got nothing but silence or mockery. I got laughed at when I brought it up the first time at a retailer summit. And look at it now. If they would have brought back returnability and then maybe opened it up. I was always for comics being available at 7-Eleven, at Walmart. I don't care. I want more comics out in the world. And if we make more comic fans, then they will want to come to comic stores because 7-Elevens and Walmarts could never do what we do. So certainly I will give up a few extra dollars in sales to a 7-Eleven if they make one comic fan out of 100 who will come in and shop at a comic store, because that's invaluable. Because that you make a new comic fan, your average comic fan is going to spend $50 to $100 a week. You get 400-500 of them coming in every Wednesday. You got a business going. And that's not counting in the walk-in stuff and the toy sales. And, I most of my trades towards the end, my trade paperbacks, I bought them used. I was near a college. So kids would graduate, come in with 2 long boxes full of trades. I'd give them pennies on the dollar for it. And my trades were always stocked. And I didn't have to buy anything from Diamond. It worked. It worked for a long time. It could still work. But you know why my store was a success for a while until I, blew it up my freaking nose, was customer service. So I made sure I hired people. They didn't have to know much about comics. They had to pass a basic test. I had a 10-question test. You had to get 50% on it to work at the store. But you had to be a talker. You had to be, and somebody, no nihilists worked at my store. You had to be somebody who was engaging, had a good personality, and was friendly. I experienced it so much in the record stores I worked at of the loathing of customers. I liked customers. I like people who give us money, but I also like talking to people. So we always had, 5 or 10 people hanging out in the store all day, every day. The store would get packed. Fortunately, I don't see that anymore, but I think that's more the comic book industry than the people who are running the store right now. But like Wednesday, I'd have lines out the door. And it wasn't just for a sale or anything. It would just, it got that big. God, I remember when the Scotty Young covers, the Scotty Young variants, that was right towards the end. Damn, I made a lot of money off those things. But, yeah, that's the story of the shop. And, you could still run a shop like that. Listen, my friend Jamie Newbold, who runs Southern California Comics down in San Diego, he's not going anywhere. He'll survive the comic apocalypse. Why? Because he's a back issue dealer. He's one of the best graders in the country. He taught me how to grade comics. He taught me a lot. Brian Brian Hibbs was very helpful. At first I wasn't, you're like, why is this guy being so helpful? I don't trust this guy. But no, he was actually really helpful. And Jamie Newbold was very helpful in inspiring me to own a comic store and how to run one. And he will, if you're ever in San Diego, make the time to go to Southern California Comics. It's one of the best comic stores in California, period. If not the best. I think it might be the best. There's a couple of good stores here that you want to check out. Check out Brian's shop and Isotope, which is, it's a comic book lounge. It's kind of an indie comic store, but James, who owns it's a good dude. So there's still good comic stores around. I'm glad Leaf at Mission Comics and Art survived. He was having trouble for a while. I see Blue Moon Comics is still in San Rafael. Those are good guys up there. If you're in San Rafael, go check it out. There's still some good comic stores, but they're having trouble. It's just, and they're not being helped by Marvel and DC, and Marvel and DC aren't going to be around much longer. So I don't know. Everybody's going to have to switch and do what the Mile High guy is doing, and just, relying on back issues. And that's how they started. That's how comic book shops started here in San Francisco. Gary Arlington, San Francisco Comics. That was the first official comic book store. And it looks like it's just going back to that. We're going to sell old comics, and that's fine. My local comic shop has closed. See, and they don't know if they'll reopen elsewhere. Sad. I miss the place. Riff Magos for Australian $5. It is sad, and I know retail is dead, but I miss going and, God, we had a store, Doomcock knew about the store we've talked about. It's called Le Video here in San Francisco. It was the best goddamn video store ever. It had everything. It was brilliant. And I miss places like that. I might even, when my store opens, I might do a hybrid of everything retail I loved in the 80s. Because I'll be in semi-retirement, and if plans work well, I'll be able to either rent a very cheap building or hopefully buy one where we move. And, Melissa and I have plans of maybe splitting it up and making one half a beauty school and the other half comics, and maybe bring a barber in, and we'll sell vintage toys. And, you got to make it an experience. If people are going to take the time to come to your store, don't throw up a couple of cheap posters that Diamond gave you on a bunch of white walls. I hate that. Cover every inch with primary colors, comic book related stuff. Put time into your store, make it look like a piece of art. That's why this room is inspired from my store. And you make it an experience. So even if somebody doesn't buy anything, it's worth their trip to go there. And that's what we got. People walk in my store and just go, oh, like that. That was great. That was very satisfying. And if they bought something, great. If they didn't, they'll remember it and they'll come back. And then they'll tell their friends like, oh, that place is worth going to. Cause you got to visually stimulate people when they come in. So yeah, let's get to more of that. And it was fun. This is fun though. This is pretty fun. I gotta say. Thank you, Riff, for the Australian $5. I'm sorry your comic shop closed, and I hope they reopen. I do, but it's really hard when you're a comic shop. I used to call them newsstand comic shops when you just sold new stuff. Basically, you're a Diamond Comics retail front. You can't survive like that anymore. I mean, it worked for a while, but Diamond doesn't give a crap about the comic stores. They just want to keep the money going. That's it. They treated you like a customer, not like a partner, like a business partner. They would try to upsell me on shit all the time. I'm like, I'll buy. I know what to buy. I'm the comic shop owner. I'm aware of things. And the other thing about owning a comic shop is it's a 7-day a week, 14 to 16 hour day job. So I think some who have never been in the industry think, oh, it's a nice sleepy little job. We can, semi-retirement. I've even heard that from people. No, it requires a ton of work, and it's not good if you have business partners. It's not a job made for business partners. It's made for a sole proprietor. That's it. Trek Dog for £5.49. Hi, Gary. New to the channel. Thanks for the great content. Your thoughts on the series Another Life and the last two Kitwalski videos. I don't watch Kitwalski videos. And I haven't seen Another Life, but I'll check it out. That's on Netflix, right, Trek Dog? I will check that out. As far as Kitwalski videos, nah. I mean, yeah, I've only heard of him because he got in a beef with Midnight's Edge, and apparently he brings me up in Doomcock, and that's fine. I don't care. But he sounds like an STD fan, so I mean, there's no change in their mind. But we'll see. Hi, Motolicious, he/him pronouns. Point of personal privilege. Have you seen that National Soy Callus rally footage? Oh God, no, Motolicious. I try to avoid that. I saw that Roseanne Arquette? Well, the Arquette that was in Pulp Fiction says she is sorry and disgusted she was born white and privileged. Well, you know what? That's something you would expect to hear from like a 20-something who's in university. But when you hear it from an aging actress, it sounds like therapy is needed. I am not sorry I was born the way I was. I don't know if it's privileged or not because I only know my individual experience. And in my individual experience, I wasn't very privileged. No, I actually had a pretty rough adolescence, a very rough adolescence. I didn't get a lot of privilege in some of the places I got and was in, and some of the trouble I was in. Now, I put myself in there, but it wasn't, not a lot of privilege going on. No, I haven't had a lot of help in my life, and that's good. That's good. My old man did the right thing by kicking my ass out of the house because it taught me a lot. Rosetta Alan for $2. No more PC politics and movies. Thank you. Yes. I'm going to be ending my next few videos with the same quote from Stephen Fry that I put in a Doctor Who video many, many moons ago. And it's his quote about political correctness. It's brilliant. Thank you, Rosetta. I agree. Mr. Roboto for $2. Hi, Gary. How was your Shatner experience? That was great. I only got like a few moments with him, but I got what I wanted. I got a picture, and he autographed Amigo for me, and then I got a picture of him and Mrs. Nerdrotic on the bridge of the Enterprise. It was great. But again, I didn't get to talk to him very much, and there was huge lines, and they kind of, brought us in like cattle. But it worked. I mean, did I feel like I got a $200 experience? Because it cost $200 to get Mrs. Nerdrotic's picture on the bridge. That was worth it. Yeah, I got to briefly meet him. Yes, it was worth it. I would pay more. Shatner is you know what? Yeah, he's probably my favorite all-time actor. I would say, yeah. I'd say one of my favorite characters in literature is Ford Prefect from Hitchhiker. But I think my favorite all-time character as far as TV shows concerned, we'll say television, not film, is Captain Kirk. I know it's a basic answer, but Shatner's, he's the man. I mean, he is the man. Yeah. Probably Harrison Ford in film. I wanted to be Harrison Ford when I grew up back in the day. I'm glad I didn't turn out that way, though, like a bad stoner pilot. But I liked him in Indiana Jones and Han Solo and Rick Deckard. Comrade Commodore for $5. Keep up the great content, my dude. Hope Wolf is all right and nothing bad happened. What happened to Wolf? Wolf? Is something wrong with Wolf? Like Word of Wolf? What's going on? I like Word of Wolf. He is a good kid. Well, he's a good man. I don't mean to call him a kid. I'm sorry. He's a good dude. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Somebody fill me in. I hope he's okay too. I always hope he's okay, and I hope Mahler's okay. I can't have anybody. You know what sucks is I can't have people jump on my stream until Friday until I get my new computer, because I've got everything set up. Everything's set up. Everything's good to go as far as bringing people in. I can bring tons of people in. I know how to use OBS. I've been actually practicing on OBS for like a year, so I got it. I've got animations. I've got fun stuff that I can put in someday. Destiny Captain, $1.99. Gary, toxic mailbag today? No toxic mailbag today. That's going to be on Nerdrotic Live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Because I've got super chats to square up, toxic mailbag, and announcements that I want to make. Hairless Yoda for $10. Thank you, Destiny Captain, for the $1.99. Again, I'd like to thank. I tried the Death Wish coffee, by the way. Excellent. It's excellent. Hairless Yoda for $10. Thank your close friend for The Boys TV series. Best superhero series out there, and it's not even close. They showed how to properly create a strong female character, Stillwell, and complex superheroes. Well, it's funny, Hairless Yoda. I've watched the series twice now, and overall, it's good. I'm happy for Derek. I'm happy for Derek that it's successful, but I have issues. I have issues with it, which was the tagline for my comic store, by the way. We have issues. And I'll probably do a video on it. But overall, I would say it's good. It's a success, but it still had a little bit of the feminist agenda in it, and it's something called The Boys, and they dialed it way back. But I'm glad you like it. I think a lot of it has to do with I read the comic books first. If you've never read the comic books, it's probably fine. If you watch this show and you haven't noticed all the patterns in entertainment with all the political correctness and crap, it's probably fine. And I'm super happy for Derek. He deserves this. So that's why I kind of, I'm a little compromised on this one. So, but I got to be real with you guys. There's things I notice in it that I don't like, that I definitely don't like. But the overall story was pretty close. It was in tone. They just, I'll explain it all in my video. It's too deep to get into, but Carl Urban's brilliant. That guy's brilliant in everything he does. Watch Dredd. If you guys have not, if anybody out there, I'm sure all of you have seen Dredd. Dredd is one of the greatest comic book films ever. Watch Dredd. And get Doomcock to watch Dredd. He will love it. Mr. Roboto for $2. Will you do Preacher reviews soon? Yes, I will. I'm going to start those up next week. They'll be on Nerdrotic Live. And I'll do my boys review over there as well. But I'm probably going to do Teen Titans or Titans reviews here. When that starts in September, I will be covering every single episode. Yes. So for those of you who are new to the channel, I started out reviewing television. That's kind of what I did. And I still do that. There just hasn't been any weekly television lately. But when we get back to weekly television, I generally don't do every episode of a streaming service that drops everything at once. I'll do one or two videos. But when they release it weekly, I go live. If it's at a set time, I go live directly after. So the Game of Thrones fans know that. And I'll be doing that for Watchmen and for Batwoman. We might mix those into the... Doomcock and I talked about mixing those into the Inquisition. And if that's the case, then I'll do separate videos on those. I'll probably do that as well. So I'll probably do like a live reaction afterwards and then a separate video. But I will be covering Titans. And I'm very honest about my reviews. I did not like Titan Season 1. We hear Titan Season 2 is much different, and we hear this crap all the time. Akiva Goldsman is writing Titans. So if he's still involved, it's still probably going to suck. Akiva Goldsman, Sonar in Space, nipples on the batsuit. That's all you need to really say. But yes, I will do Preacher reviews. I watched the first episode, Mr. Roboto. I did. Yeah, it seems okay. I mean, I love Preacher Season 1. I love it. Season 2, the first 2 episodes are great. Then it turned into Herschel's farm for an entire season. Then it rallied at the end. Season 3 was better. Season 3 was much better. Larry for $5. Bob Iger is lighting a paper bag full of crap on his way out the door. Disney is irrelevant to me. Without respect, we reject. Don't buy anything Disney. Yes, the streaming wars. We need to talk about those. So Game of Thrones and Doctor Who can now fail on the same platform. That's good. They're together, collapsing on HBO Max, which paid a lot of money. See, that's the other thing, is they're trying to bring all of their series back home, and they're trying to bring, Doctor Who is a big win. But if Doctor Who got let go by Netflix and then let go by Amazon, I think that's a bigger deal than being let go by Netflix. That means HBO Max, overbid for Doctor Who? And Amazon recognizes that Doctor Who is just not as popular as it was a few years ago. Why? Oh, I think because they changed it to a female doctor and filled it full of political agenda. That's why it failed. And it split the fan base. Does that sound familiar? It certainly sounds like every single goddamn thing that they've come out with franchise-wise in the last 3 years. And they probably overpaid to buy something that nobody's going to rewatch. Now, they'll probably rewatch the classic series, but nobody's going to get HBO Max for that. And yeah, it's not a good fit. It's a disastrous fit because you're going smaller. HBO Max is not as big as Amazon, and Amazon is not as big as Netflix. Now, I've heard all the doom and gloom about Netflix, and they lost 130,000 subscribers. They still have 140 million subscribers. And that's still about 100 million more than everybody. So, and they've got worldwide distribution. It sounds like, they still have to get their shit together though. Amazon, I've always thought could be the big winner in this because they've got their store. They've got a lot to fall back on. They need some successes, though. They certainly do. But we got The Expanse over there. But now Doctor Who's leaving. But that's okay. Because I'm not going to watch Jodie. I'm going to review it and never watch it again. Because it's not Doctor Who. It's a person cosplaying as Doctor Who. Let's get back up. I just saw my. Thank you, Larry. And yes, that's a great Doomcock quote. That is his hashtag that I 100% agree with. I don't need to create my own because I'll just borrow his. Hashtag without respect, we reject. Back at 100%. Jeff McKelvey for $5. Great video earlier today regarding shame. Taika Waititi. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. These people have no shame. Without respect, we reject. Love the show, Gary. Thank you. Love you too, Jeff McKelvey. And yes, I want a giant enterprise. So I will email you after the show. And I want to hang it from the middle of the ceiling. Can we get it to light up? I mean, I'll pay you. I don't expect anything for free. I did turn down a couple of sponsors. I did. It's harder to do than you think. But it was one was an app where you had to click through, and if I put the link in and enough people click through and I get a percentage, it's like, I'm not going to do that. No. You gotta give me money. Show me the money. Don't like percentages and click-throughs and stuff like that. You lose me. And this is not for you guys. This is for all sponsors. If you want to talk to me via email, tell me what you want in the first email. Don't go, hey, I got a deal for you, and then expect me to respond. I'm not even going to respond to those anymore. I don't have time to, because that takes away from me answering a question or somebody sending me an article. That's my priority. So if you want my attention, just say what you want right there. And if you can't say that, then it makes me suspicious already. So yeah. JD for $10 might be a grand strategy of Disney. Awesome phase 1 through 3 awesome phase 1 through 3 dumpster fire for phase 4 to satisfy SJWs, then strong phase 5 fanforstic X-Men. Market is cyclical and MCU fan base is tired now. That's an interesting theory, JD, and not one I entirely disagree with. I think they had to cave to the SJWs and the NPCs eventually, and I think they held it off as long as they could. The downside to that is they didn't just cave, they collapsed, they bent the knee, they bowed. Can you do something lower than bend the knee? I think they laid they laid on their back and showed their belly. It was full submission to the SJWs. Yeah, I mean, we can get worse than that, but let's not. Okay, let's just say they showed their belly, and then the SJWs peed on them. That's what it was. It was, and again, respect for trying to hold it off, but here's the problem. This could easily be fixed, and I talked about it in the video, so sorry for repeated information. Easily fixed. You can just add more women, have them be on equal ground with men, and have everybody at the party, and just make a good story and not make an issue about identity politics and agenda. But that's not what they want to do. That's why it's obvious propaganda, because that's what they are doing. And yeah, I'm just tired of it. Mega Jetty 1. I got you on my watch party, not the way I intended. Oh, well, hey, good to be there. Yeah, so Disney fully submitting to the SJWs and MCU, and Kevin Feige signing off on all this. And I wonder how much power he actually has. Because listen, up until recently, I thought he was the smartest guy in Hollywood. They should have named streets after him. I mean, what he did with the MCU is fracking historic. But go back and watch Endgame again. It does not rewatch well. Now, I initially liked the film because it hit all the emotional beats. But you go back and rewatch it, and you start seeing the patterns. The same patterns. Bounding into comics, I'm forgetting the guy's name here. I'll look it up real quick. A guy did a video on patterns, and it was excellent. Excellent, excellent. Let's see if I can find it really quick. And they shared it in Bounding into Comics. I forgot what the YouTuber's name is. I don't know every YouTuber. Yeah, okay. So it's Jonathan Pagau, Pageau. When you're done watching me, watch Jonathan Pagau's video on recognizing the patterns, and he uses Wonder Woman and Mad Max Fury Road, but you can extrapolate that out into Logan, into Endgame, into the Wasp and Ant-Man. I was one of the only ones going, man, I hated that freaking movie. I did not like that movie because I call it the Wasp and Ant-Man because, look at the imagery. Look at the Wasp takes center stage. So they're trying to sell you an Ant-Man movie that's really about the Wasp. And what are we getting now? More and more. Now they're just coming out and saying we're replacing male characters with female characters. They have plenty of female characters that they can add, right? Or build from the ground up. And we could keep our male characters and just have female characters there too. Like the concept of Doctor Strange. If it was actually going to be Doctor Strange teaming up with Scarlet Witch, I'd be cool with that. But it's going to be Scarlet Witch's movie that Doctor Strange is in, and he's got the name, but Scarlet Witch will probably get equal amount of screen time, if not more, and be the star of that film. And Disney has come out and said they want it female focused. Alex Kurtzman said that Star Trek is female centric. And, nobody again is asking for full patriarchy. Okay, we want equality. And what they think they're doing is making up stuff. What they're doing is making it less white and less male. That's all this ever is, all this ever was. And they think that we're a dying demographic, or they're angry at a lot of people for the election. And there's a lot of collateral damage there for people who don't give a shit about politics and really just want normal entertainment. It's Hollywood and the entertainment industry in the UK lashing out needlessly. And they are alienating fans forever. When you get too political, you don't just lose fans for a little while. You lose them forever. We barely put up with our family members we have political divides with. Do you think we're going to put up with some, spoiled actor who talks about their, oh my God, let me show you this. This is ridiculous. And listen, I used to like Rosanna Arquette, but Rosanna Arquette is, it looks like she's just, some elitist Hollywood hippy dippy. More of that. I see a lot of it. I'm close to Marin County. So there's a lot of that. And that's what she looks like, a Marin County mom, now. So let me get this article real quick. And this self-loathing crap, this requires therapy. And we all know why she said it. Virtue signal. Okay, so Pulp Fiction actress Rosanna Arquette, and it must suck for Rosanna to be known for a bit part in Pulp Fiction. When I don't know, she's kind of hot back in the day, to be honest with you. But yeah, she just looks like a Marin County mom right there. She just got back from Pilates. She had some Zinfandel, and she's going to take Dakota and Cody to soccer practice. And then she's going to go work for the DNC, do some pass out some leaflets for the DNC. And then smoke a bunch of pot. Probably. Pulp Fiction actress Rosanna Arquette declaring that she was sorry she was born white and privileged. Arquette, who played Jodie in Pulp Fiction and Sophie in The Whole Nine Yards, took to Twitter to state, "I'm sorry." Who wakes up and goes, "What am I going to tweet today? I got it. I'm sorry I was born white and privileged. It disgusts me and I feel so much shame." Did she elaborate? Because of okay. What is your birth? What is your being born with a skin color that you had no say in have to do with the president? Wow. I'll never stand for the flag again. Wow, that flag that allows you to say what you said, and you're free to say it. You're absolutely free to say it. The flag that represents everybody here. It just doesn't represent one party or one person or one president. And this is more of the narrative of trying to get rid of that flag, trying to undercut that flag. I try to live life, hey, I bitch about a lot of things here, but I try to live life with gratitude. I am very grateful. I have a opportunity that I worked hard for to do this channel and have a lot of fun doing it and interact with you people. And I hope one day we could just talk about good television and good movies, and this will all be over. But when we have irrelevant actresses, and this is what this is all about. She needed attention. She needed some easy likes. And this is the best way to do it. Roseanne Arquette probably hasn't been in a much lately. And honestly, this is where Hollywood is extremely sexist. I will agree with Roseanne Arquette on one thing. When a woman passes 40 in Hollywood, they're forgotten. They're grandmas, they're aunts. We understand that. We even those of us who hate the intersectional feminism that's being put in our films, I understand the human aspect of this. I understand that women have been treated very poorly in Hollywood, and that hence the lashing out. I get it, but it's an overcorrection. And there's collateral damage, and you're alienating fan bases, people who would normally be sympathetic to you, but aren't anymore because you do ungrateful shit like this. You know how fucking pretentious this is? For one, this goddamn baby boomer hippie culture, when's it going to go away? I've been fighting this crap my entire life. It's the only reason I became a punk rocker, because we couldn't stand the hippies. We were a direct result of the hippies and their fake ass peace movement. Arquette is no stranger to making inflammatory comments. Well, back in March, the actress declared, "We are living in a sick dictatorship." Well, then move, please. Please move. Make some space. A lot, the people who to immigrate here legally, if you want to open up a spot for one of them, that sounds like a good idea to me. You can trade places. You can go live in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure things are better there. Why don't you give it a shot? Yeah, she needs some attention. I'm not going to give her any more. And, without respect, we reject. How lame is that? Hollywood, I could see it. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but everything ends. Nothing lasts forever. Look at the music industry. I bring this up a lot, but it's a shadow of its former self, and it used to be the most important industry in entertainment. It used to make the most money, and it doesn't anymore. And that gets forgotten. I think television will eclipse film. We don't have movie stars anymore. That's why, by the way, we have Rosanna Arquette. Who really cares what Rosanna Arquette? It's like, I'm trying to think of an older actor. I can't even think of an irrelevant older actor. You are skipping over, Did I miss one? I'm not skipping over super. Okay, so I'm gonna. I said you're. Okay. Just want a quick reminder to everybody that with super chats, I try to hit all of them. Sometimes the screen jumps. If I go out of order sometimes, don't worry, I'll get to it. And if I miss it in a show for some reason, I make up for it in another show. We do not leave one behind. I actually did get caught up on everything over the weekend. I still have to get to a couple from the Orville party in San Diego, but I have to go log into my other channel to do that. So we're going to do that tomorrow on the other channel. Let's go back down. There we go. Hail, Gary. I love the Mighty Thor number 134. We own the myths, not them, and we are the keepers. They live in us, period, says Valentine's Tube for $5. Yep. So and I probably forgot to mention that in the video. A lot of stuff ends up on the cutting room floor. They can't take our myths. He can't ruin our mythos because what he's doing is a cheap ass copy. What Taika Waititi is doing is the Cliff Notes version of the genius of that was Jack Kirby. Taika Waititi wishes he had a thousandth of the talent that Jack Kirby had, the visual talent. Jack Kirby was one of the greatest artists, comic artists who's ever lived. One of the greatest artists who's ever lived. I love his style. I love everything about him. And I used to not like him. When I was a kid, I thought it was blocky and ugly. And, I had to appreciate it when I was older in my teens. But when I was like a 7-year-old, I'm all, that sucks. That's dumb. But yeah, they can't ruin our myths. And maybe he was being tongue-in-cheek, but he needs to be a little more self-aware and know that this is the same fandom that exists within the Phantom Menace and Rian Johnson's act, and it looked eerily like that, and it didn't look like he was being too humorous. It looked like he was trolling with glee. Okay. Taika Waititi had a pretty, within the Phantom Menace, nobody had a problem with him. Even during the female Thor announcements, nobody really had a problem with him. They knew it wasn't, he wasn't making these decisions. Let me tell you something about the directors at Marvel that most of you probably already know. They don't direct the entire film. These films are practically pre-made for the directors. That's why a couple of indie directors who don't know shit about shit can come into Captain Marvel and direct a film with special effects, because one of the female directors who turned down the gig let it out. I don't know if she was supposed to or not. She said, yeah, I wanted to direct the special effects scene, and they said, no, we'll do those for you. Well, if you're not directing the special effects scenes, what exactly are you directing? Principal? The acting? Okay, that's a month. So you're not really directing the entire film, are you? And after I heard that, I started noticing other things, and it's great. If you watch the Red Letter Media Star Trek Discovery review, they talk about how Star Trek Discovery has 21 producers credited on the TV show. Everything now is producer driven. So producers are now the bosses, not the directors. So these things are pre-made like they're widgets. They have somebody come in to direct the actors, and some of these special effects shots might already be done before they even show up to the set. I don't know, but it kind of seems like that. It's kind of looking like that. And that would explain the disconnect, why everything is starting to feel a little hollow now. Winter Soldier. That movie had tons of heart and intrigue. That was a goddamn good movie. Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably the best Marvel movie, in my opinion. The closest thing to Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back. Tons of heart. You can tell that James Gunn was, whether you like him or not, he was in entire control of that film. Not the case anymore. And this is what's also behind, and I mentioned this in a Doctor Who video, this is what's also behind a lot of this diversity hiring. Hate to break it to you, everybody, you're cheaper. If you have the producers pre-making everything, they don't have to get some top-of-the-line director. They can save a bunch of money, get some indie director who'll do whatever they tell him to. Kevin Feige is probably going to do this with every director now. He's not going to get some major name involved, even if it's an up-and-comer. I'm forgetting his name now. The guy who did Black Panther. But he was still an up-and-comer. He did a good job with Creed, but still an up-and-comer, still somebody who can be controlled by the producers. You're not going to have there's how many directors. Maybe that's why Matthew Vaughn has never come over to the MCU, although he would be great. He would be perfect for a superhero film, but he doesn't direct any, which is too bad. You're not going to see big names now because they don't need them, because these things are, like I said, they're widgets. Thor, I have a complete run of Journey into Mystery and then Thor up to when Straczynski left. When Straczynski left, I stopped collecting Thor. but I have that complete run. I'm more into having a complete run of comics than I'm into having everything in mint condition. I generally buy all my back issues from good, like VG to good. I don't need anything in mint. I would just rather hold the comic and read it. And you end up getting better prices that way too. You know, you go out and buy a mint copy of something, you can't touch it, you can't read it. I want to be able to read the comics I own. Yes, my Amazing Fantasy 15, I've read it. I've opened it and I've read it, and I'll do it again. God, I was so lucky when I bought that when I did. Whew. My Amazing Fantasy 15, the story behind my Amazing Fantasy 15. First thing I ever bought on eBay. I bought it without seeing a picture, and I got it for $1,300. And that was a lot of money for me back then. It was in late 90s. And I just discovered eBay, and I was dumb enough to trust it. And I sent this guy a $1,300 money order, and he sent me the book. He could have kept it and ripped me off. I don't know. And he sent me the book. And it was I would say a VG Plus version of Amazing Fantasy 15. I don't even know what the book's worth a lot more than that now. Thousands. But yeah, I was lucky. That was in late 90s. I was married to my first wife, and she did not know. I did that behind her back. I was very mean. I shouldn't have done that. Very dishonest. Hugo, what the hell is this? What's a UYU? What's a UYU is what is it? It's Uruguayan peso. That's cool. Uruguay. What's up? Robert Meyer Burnett is very close friend to I can't say this word out loud because of monetization, but I will read your super chat because I did not know this. So Hugo is saying Robert Meyer Burnett is a very close friend to P to the E to the D to the O, Bryan Singer. Has he ever stated he didn't know anything about Singer behavior? Has anybody asked him? Because I did not know that. I'll ask him. think it's a good question to ask. Because Bryan Singer, I think in my opinion, he is one of those things. Yes. 100%. But Hugo, thank you. I think somebody should ask the question. I mean, I got nothing against RMB personally. And if, maybe he didn't know anything. If he just worked with him professionally, you wouldn't see that stuff, but I don't know, but Bryan Singer, man, there's a lot of smoke around Bryan Singer. Just saying. Modalicious for $2. Are you skipping over my super chats? I can be a jerk. What did I skip? Hang on. I'll go back. I read your one earlier. Was there another one? Modalicious? Hi, Modalicious. He/him pronouns, point of personal privilege. Have you seen that National Soy Callus rally footage? So was there another one besides that, Modalicious? Because I read that one already. Hang on. Just making sure. No, maybe it didn't go through. Let me know, Modalicious. Put it in the chat, though. You don't have to super chat again. Daniel Poppy for $2. What is the stupidest fad you've ever been a part of? God, there's been many. What's the dumbest fad I've ever been a part of? I got to think about it. Everybody thinks they're cool. I've always thought I was cool, but what's a dumb fad? I don't know. Maybe being in a Marvel I know. Being a YouTuber. I'm just kidding. Maybe that's it, Daniel. I don't know. I was never into Beanie Babies, Pet Rocks. Okay. I had kind of a mullet, but I had I didn't have like a trucker mullet. I had a Lost Boys mullet. So that might be the dumbest thing I've ever been part of. I might have that picture. Jeff from World Class Bullshitters has it on his phone now. So every time I call him. Well, by the way, congratulations to the happy couple. I guess we can talk about it now. Where is that dumb picture? I don't know if I want to show this again. But yeah, that was probably it. I had a Lost Boys mullet. But I had that look before that movie came out. So, Hiroshi score for 50 Mexican dollars during my binge nerdrotic mode. Wow, I'm sorry. It occurred to me a villainous charity idea. Gary watches The Little Mermaid and make Gary pop Funko. Would you make a Gary pop Funko Pop for charity? For charity, it depends on the charity. Watching The Little Mermaid, it would have to be a very sizable donation because I don't like animated Disney movies. I like the first film I ever saw was an animated Disney movie, according to my mom, which was why am I blanking on the name now? This really sucks. Robin Hood. But no, I've never been a fan of Disney animated films. And when they had their resurgence, I was in my mid-20s. I didn't have kids. I had no reason to go see a 24-year-old male in the 90s is not going to watch A Little Mermaid. I'm going to watch Pulp Fiction 20 times in the theater. And then later on Fight Club. Yeah, I wasn't watching cartoons back then. I was way too cool for that stuff. Funko Pop. Make a Funko Pop. Again, for charity, I would say yes to anything. If it's for a good cause. By the way, the last charity drive we did, my 100K, we ended up getting like $1,000. So for those charities, so that's going to be good, and I will be donating on the 21st of this month, which is in a few days away. Stargate 404 for $2. They have a new RPG for The Expanse. Have you seen it? I've seen it. I'll probably buy it to support it and then never play it. But I'll buy it to support it. I have seen it though. It looks pretty cool. Castle Arg for $2. Where's the Batman picture, Gary? What Batman picture? Was that from earlier? What Batman picture? I can't remember. It was probably something I was talking about earlier. Maybe I'll remember. I'll try to remember Castle Arg. I bought my first comic, Spawn #1, in a truck stop in Alice, Texas. It says Dallas Deadeye, $5. You know, true comic book fans, and you know, not true comic book fans, there's two things us men will remember for the rest of our lives whoever is when you lost your virginity and where you bought your first comic book. I remember both very clearly. That's cool that you remember that. A truck stop in Alice, Texas. Mine was the 7-Eleven on Rancho Santa Fe Road in San Marcos, California. I bought Marvel Team Up number 42, the Spider-Man and the Vision, and Scarlet Witch was in it, and they were fighting, I'm forgetting his name, some evil pilgrim guy and Doctor Doom in the 1500s. Salem Witch Trials. It was the Salem Witch Trials thing. John Byrne did the art. Psycho Dwarf 9 for $5. Haven't had cable or a TV. What wasn't connected to gaming since 2005? So you haven't had anything connected to gaming since 2005. You're better off for it. And yeah, cable's dead. God, I cut my cord 3-4 years ago. It's been 3 or 4 years. Mike Kyle for $5. Hey Gary, can I post a link to a survey I created about why we're drawn to superheroes in comics? I want to gain insight how to tell the best stories. You can try to contact one of my moderators on DMs on Twitter, and they can post the link. Only moderators can post links in here. If you tell me where the link is, I can check it out and post it real quick. Can I post a link to a survey? Email it to me, Gary@nerdrotic.com. Mike, thank you for the $5. And I can post it there. Ultra Raider 52. Canadian 6.99. I'm 2 episodes into The Boys, and it's starting to feel like it has woke written all over it. Please tell me I'm wrong. Also, keep the great content up. I wish I could tell you you're wrong, but you're not. And it's very disappointing to me. I'm torn on it because, again, my friend's involved, and I've already warned you guys that I'm compromised on that thing. And it's like, it's half good, and then the woke stuff takes me out of it, and it's all over the place. And they made some creative decisions that were changes from the comics to dial stuff back for the Me Too era. And the Me Too era affecting art bothers me. It bothers me. So if that can affect art, then, well, shit. Every time somebody drinks alcohol and everything made from now on, it offends me. It offends me. You know, we don't have smoking anymore because it might make people smoke. Well, how come drugs and liquor are putting everything fucking out? You offend me personally. So it all needs to stop. Bring back prohibition. Make pot illegal again because it offends me. Not really. I don't care. Listen, I had pot smoke blown in my face all weekend in Las Vegas. I didn't care. It doesn't make me want to smoke it. I don't think the world needs to bend to my needs. I need to adapt to the world. Philip Black for $2. Thank you for the donation, but no comment there. No comment. Selena Kyle. Thank you, Philip, for the $2. It does help a lot. Selena Kyle for $1.99. Just got a new comic shop in Pahrump. They moved from California. They did. What are they called? Where did they move from? I want to know. It's rare to hear of a comic shop opening. Yeah, good old Pahrump, Nevada. Psycho, spelled Psykko for $10. I wish people would actually like going to shop still. We had several in my downtown area in Michigan when I was growing up, along with a land cafe, all closed around 2010, 2013. Still sad about it. Yes, and that was all residual from the recession. You know, it's not like the recession happened in 2008. It's not like everybody just closed down that year. The recession had an effect all the way to 2014. The recession did not affect me. The one thing that was good in our household is people always need their hair done, and people always want their hair done. And we're in the big city, so Melissa did well, and I took on a partner, I took on a second job, and I was able to do okay. It was just a lot. It was harder work. I had a fun experience in Hollywood, semi-fun. I met some good people. The work kind of sucked, but some of it was cool. But I met a lot of good people down there. And honestly, it led to this. So everything leads to, well, if you allow it, the evolution of life can always lead to something. I didn't know at the time that I took this weird 4-month film school here in San Francisco, which got me a job at Technicolor. But I didn't, at the time, know it would lead to this. So it was all kind of worth it. Felipe Abrigo for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Hi, Gary. Check out Dark on Netflix. I have. German time travel series. Also, I sent you the link to the Shatner petition on email. Cheers. Thank you, Felipe. Dark is interesting. I actually like it. Now, I'm watching it with the German subtitles now because I tried to watch it with the voiceover and it sounded like a bad cartoon. Visually amazing. Great music. I'm 4 episodes in, so I have no idea what's going on, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And there's a $5 retracted message. Maybe that was you, Modalicious. I don't know. I'm going to go to the chat here for a second. Hey, is everything, to hell with the vape. I like my pipe. Says Lori Wilson. Hey, you know what? You guys smoke away. It's okay. I don't smoke pot, but you guys should be able to smoke pot legally, whatever the hell you want. It grows in the ground. I 100% agree with its legalization. I don't want to sound like I'm not. I'm very libertarian that way. I actually do think at this point drugs should be probably legal. And then you can, not that I'm for taxing, but you got to do something. And what's going on now ain't working. People don't have a hard time finding drugs. I saw a cocaine deal go down in a goddamn casino, and nobody got busted. I couldn't believe it. I'm watching this. I'm waiting for the security guards to come by because they're watching everything, and maybe they just didn't care. I'm like, wow, that's weird. Okay, cool. I don't care. I mean, just as long as you're not hurting anybody. Now, like, yeah, we need to do something. It's there's the epidemics there's cocaine addicts, there's meth addicts, there's addicts everywhere. There's a lot of people homeless. It's a huge problem. You can't solve it. You can't solve it. It's an unsolvable problem. You just try to do the best you can. And, not everybody's going to get saved. It sucks. It sucks. I was aware of that when I was on the street. I felt like I'm just one of those people who fell through the cracks, and maybe this is it for me. Things changed and it got better, but it doesn't get better for everybody, and it sucks, but you don't stop trying. And yeah, maybe at this point you legalize everything. I'm not really sure what to do. But I do know that the biggest villain is Big Pharma. They're the biggest villain. Worse than any drug lord from Colombia or America or Canada. Don't want to single out Colombia there. So how's it looking? How's the stream looking? Is it okay? Because I'm getting weird numbers. I'm getting very, very weird numbers here from my analytics. They're bouncing all over the place, so I don't know what's what. But hey, as long as one person's here, I'm good. Let's get back to the super chat though. Yeah, I go to meetings, and that's the most successful thing I've ever seen, and it's not that successful. I wish it was more successful. But rehabs generally don't work. Even the ones you're in for months, that's better than a 30-day rehab. But who's got, not a lot of people take the 9 months to a year that it really takes to change. Although they should. I mean, it's just their life. But meetings work. Meetings work. All right, I'm going to close this. Mikhail Rozowski for 60. What's a PLN? I'm just going to call everything pesos. For 60 pesos. Hello, Gary. Did you hear the news that Amazon will create a TV series based on Event Horizon movie? What? They're making series out of everything now. Man, everybody, go home if you're not home and pitch a story to Amazon and Disney. And like, this is the time. You want your script sold? There is no better time ever in the history of entertainment to get your script option. I mean, just crap out something that you don't feel passionate about to maybe get an extra few $1,000, and somebody might buy it because they are making shit out of everything right now. Crap, I might dust off my comic book and submit it for, get an extra, $2,000 or $3,000, and great, I can put it towards my fence in the backyard. Crap. Yeah, they're making something on everything. Also, first season of Lord of the Rings from Amazon may have 20 episodes. Well, I have a video coming out on that. And it looks like it's going to be the Fellowship of the Woke. Yeah, fucking breaks my heart, man. That one hurts. But I swore, if they mess with Lord of the Rings, you know how those channels like Preston Jacobs are dedicated to like one thing? Like, I will create a new channel to vent my rage for Lord of the Rings. I will create I don't know what I'll call it, but I will make that. That will happen if they fuck that series up. Now, I'm still hoping for the best, but I expect the worst. But that's pretty much all. That's Hollywood these days. Event Horizon. I kind of like the movie. That's Sam Neill, right? where they were on the spaceship and they went light speed or something like that, and they hit some hell dimension or something like that, and everybody started ripping their skin off, and they turned into the Reavers from Serenity. Yeah. Wow, I did not hear that. Rob Price. I just lost you there, Rob. Hang on. Going back. Why did it do that? There we go. Newer shows and franchises that are not full of SJ woke scold material. Wow, it's hard to answer that now. Well, unfortunately, one show is not coming out now. Taboo. Go watch 8. It's just look at it as an 8-episode story. It does have an ending that's very satisfying. It stars Tom Hardy. It's on FX. It's a great show. Just got news today. We're probably not getting season 2, even though they announced it 2 years ago. It looks like Venom 2 has ruined Taboo, folks. So we will not be getting a second. They want to do a second and third season. They're talking about doing it without Tom Hardy. Now, I think this might have something to do with it being a white male lead. I think they want to get rid of white male leads completely. Straight white male leads. Masculine white male leads. I won't even say straight. I'll just say masculine. I think they want to eradicate that right now. And that's why we get Fat Thor, and that's why we get Female Thor, and that's why Taboo gets delayed, even though it was a freaking excellent show. I don't know. The Expanse. Hopefully The Expanse won't be the Orville. Watch the Orville. It's got allegory in it, but it's not. It's still really good. It's really good. It's like old school Star Trek. If you haven't watched it, Rob, I'm sure you've heard of it though. Stephen Pester for $10. I wanted to wish you the very best. I love this channel and your message. I recently discovered it and started watching while I do my accounting work. Wow. It's great to listen to you while I crunch numbers. Steven, thank you for the $10. My dad was an accountant. He was a CPA. He worked for Pete Marrick Mitchell, and then he started his own business, and he was Dr. Seuss's accountant. Yeah, that's my pops. He passed away almost 18 years ago now. But yes, my dad was Ted Geisel's accountant. So yeah, at least you're not in tax season right now. I'd lose my dad. I wouldn't see my dad from March to May 1st. I wouldn't see my dad at all. Thunder Robots for $5. What's your opinion on Star Trek 2009 bridge set? Been looking at it for my classic Playmates figure. I don't like the 09 bridge. I like it for 09. I liked that movie when it came out. I did. I don't like what it's made though. So things change. Didn't Playmates make a classic bridge set for for the Playmate figures? I saw one. They make a classic bridge set. Get that. It was like $40. The only reason I didn't buy it is I didn't have enough room to bring it in, but I think I'm going to get it. I haven't unpacked. I have a pile of clothes right here that I need to put away. I've been making videos and running my kid around. Arbitov for $1.99. Thanks for all the great work. Well, thank you. Thank you for the $1.99, and it's my pleasure. Trust me, it's my pleasure. Did you hear about that YouTuber who pranked her dog? I saw the quartering video. Woo! That's one way to lose a channel quick. Who pranks their dogs? Who yells at their dogs? Stunned Soul for $5. I am done with the mainstream media in general. Oh yeah, me too. I gave them up a long time ago. The narrative being fed to us is very damaging and makes us all dumber and a number. Time to wake up and live in real life. Yes, it is. It is. Listen, when I know it's a very touchy subject, but I don't watch the mainstream news ever. Not 1 second of it. And the reason I stopped was they continue to put out the names of these shooters, and they need to stop. I think that has a lot to do with copycats and stuff and make stars out of them, but they don't care. So the mainstream media, which looks at us YouTubers as competition and criticizes us for clickbait and stuff, or monetizing our rage, monetize your fear every day. Every day. So when I stopped watching, instantly I'm not stressed anymore. And no, I can be aware of the world. If something major happens, like a meteor is coming to wipe us all out, I'll find out about it. But otherwise, if it's not in my purview, if it's not in my direct life, I am powerless to change anything. If it's something I can actually do something about or donate to some charity, sure, no problem. But I don't know. I've always lived through unfortunate circumstances. I've always been kind of on my own from a very young age. So I'm a self-starter. I don't rely on anybody else for anything and haven't since I was a very early teenager. We're talking like 14. And I lead this individualist life. I've got my family and stuff, and that's all I care about. Everything else, I'm powerless over so much, and they teach us that in recovery. You do what I try to, progress, not perfection. I can only do stuff that I can directly affect. And there's a lot of things I'm powerless over. So I have to just kind of let that go. Otherwise it'll drive you nuts. It'll drive you freaking nuts. And the mainstream media, listen, they have been lying to us forever, and they got caught pretty bad a couple of years ago. And what did they do? Double, triple down. So more and more people are looking for alternate sources. And it's usually a gal or a guy in a room with a microphone, generally without an agenda. I can't speak for all YouTubers, but the ones I know, the ones I watch, I feel like they are genuine. Like this is, I met Jeremy, and Jeremy's Jeremy. Like that's not an act. That's Jeremy. Really cool guy. That's it. I met Jeff, I met Jesse. That's what they are. And this is where entertainment and the streaming wars need to factor in YouTube, because I think YouTube could kick their ass. I think I would rather watch a live stream, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, than 99% of the scripted garbage we're getting nowadays. I would rather watch proper Jeremy, Merry Mayhem. That's way more entertaining to me. Tracy Wilborn for $5. Close your eyes. Can't happen here, big bro. On White Horse is near the hippies. Won't come back. You say mellow. Let me try that again. Close your eyes. Can't happen here, big bro. On a white horse is near. The hippies won't come back. You say mellow out and you will pay. Mellow out and you will pay. I don't sing, Tracy. I'm sorry. But thank you. Mellow out or you will pay. I love that line, by the way. Nicholas Horton for £5. It'll be a while before the golden age of Hollywood returns. At the moment, it's the dark times. It won't return. Something will replace it. There'll always be entertainment, scripted entertainment. That's not going away. It'll probably always be centered in Hollywood, but Hollywood being the most relevant place in the world might change. New York City is still considered the media capital of the country, right? Well, that's shifting to here, to the Bay Area, which is now the tech capital of the country. And while Hollywood is an industry that's not going to go away anytime soon, like I said, their power and relevancy is damaged. When you lose half of your audience and don't give a crap, that damages you. But it takes a while for these things to cycle through and show the consequences. And that's where we are today. When Disney comes with crappy earnings, although they had majorly successful films. By the way, they're not going to have another Endgame again for a long, long time, if ever. I mean, that was it. And Endgame, the quarter Endgame came out, they lost money. That's significant. That means they blew Endgame. Now, profits are up and blah, 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 blah. Why? Because things cost more now. I was at Disneyland in the middle of summer at Galaxy's Edge, and it was busy, but I've seen busier days in February. And I tell you right now, and this is how I honestly feel about it. Disneyland, which was I've never been to Disney World, but I grew up going to Disneyland. And it's the only thing I loved about Disney, because I love the quaint, I don't know, the experience there. It was, you really did feel like you were going into another world, and every detail was beautiful. And when you walk down, the main street, and you get that feel for Disneyland, you go into Fantasyland, it's completely changed now, and it feels hollow. Galaxy's Edge takes up a giant part of the park, and there's one frackin' ride. I mean, honestly, the petting zoo was better, and that's what they got rid of. The petting zoo and the Big Bear Jamboree. I like that stuff. I remember going to that stuff when I was a kid, and they replaced it for this static thing that they call Star Wars that doesn't look anything like Star Wars at all. I wouldn't know it was Star Wars until I saw a stormtrooper, a duck trooper. I call them duck troopers. I guess some of you didn't know this, but most of you've got to know that the new stormtroopers have duck bills. I was showing that to a couple of members of the Phantom Menace, and they hadn't seen it. And I was like, really? Like, this is the first thing I saw. They have duck bills now. Wow, did they actually scrub that from the internet? Yeah, there it is. So here, I'll just pull that down there. So he put the yellow part there, but actually, if you just use the top part right here, yeah, that looks like a duck bill. I can't unsee it now. And I know they did that on purpose. So yeah, that's Disney Star Wars right there. Yeah, it's it's empty. For one, Galaxy's Edge looks empty. It's part of it is illusion because they did spread it way out. The only interesting part is one little hallway where it's a bunch of shopping, and the shops suck. They totally suck. There's cups and tchotchkes. There's no action figures, nothing. I don't understand what would it. You know what? I think things were in the works. They thought Solo would be a hit. It went on too long. They didn't have time to change, and they're just going to have to deal with it. And this is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. So they don't get the second ride till January, and that's only a second ride. And the word of mouth on the Millennium Falcon, I think, is out. And they've had they've lifted all the blackouts. So Bob Iger blamed it on the blackouts, but they've lifted the blackouts. It's been lifted for a while now, and nobody's still going. And it wasn't even like it was too hot. It was actually a perfect day. It was like 80 degrees. It was great. You know what? We had a long line into the Haunted Mansion. I waited longer for the Haunted Mansion than I did for the Millennium Falcon ride. And I waited I waited longer for the Matterhorn than the Millennium Falcon ride too. Cardinal Sin, I was in a punk band with Patty Jenkins in school. Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman? Really? That's cool. Thanks, Cardinal Sin, for $1.99. Yeah, Patty Jenkins. She's kind of cute. I like Patty Jenkins. Kevin Feige fired her. He did. Cracklin, $4.99. I'm sure they'll blame it on Perlmutter, but she got fired from Dark World. Cracklin, $4.99. Did you see any sign of Captain Marvel in the MCU film reveal? Do you think that's on purpose? Or maybe she's too busy with her future Jedi career? No, there was no talk of Captain Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con, but she was everywhere that Marvel was. She was front and center. She is the face of the new Marvel, not Spider-Man, who has been the face of Marvel for decades, because that's a white male. We can't have that anymore. We can't have white males in anything anymore. We're evil, we're bad, because of agenda. And it's not even like, I remember a year and a half ago, people were going, you're seeing things, man. You're reading in the things too much. I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I know so, because they're coming out and saying it. Watch my last couple of videos. When will Hollyweird wokeness finally go away? Asked Mark Smith for $2. I don't think it'll ever go away if it gets dialed down to an acceptable level. I don't expect everybody to not have any opinions on stuff and be neutral. It's just, I ask for equal time, and will we ever get that? When it stops selling, or when it stops selling. And it needs, and more than that, again, when it becomes uncool. In their eyes, it's still cool. We know different. We look at them, and like I said, they look like clowns. They're freaking clowns right now. And they don't see that yet. But once we start mocking and more of that actually takes hold, then things will start happening. But we need to mock them, not get angry. Even though, like, you have every right to be angry because they've taken away something you've loved, and they've done it with glee. And, Taika Waititi just was the latest. Nicholas Horton for £2. Have you seen the new Vader versus Kylo Ren fan film? I did. I watched Jeremy's video on it. I hated it. I hated it. Why did you waste your fan film on Krylo? Darth Gorb. Hey, listen, you win some, you lose some, fan films. And while I appreciate any fan love in a film, if it's about Kylo, I'm probably not going to like it. I'm not especially when, I'm sorry, spoilers. He defeats Vader, but then the twist happens. And I'm like, why? The quality was okay. Darth Gorbit, make your own stuff, though. That's why you just make your own stuff. Darth Gorbag for $10. I just got back seeing my psychiatrist. Spent half the appointment talking about how Marvel Phase 4 is going to suck. Because the MCU means that much to me. Darth Gorbag, I am cheaper than a psychiatrist. I'm not as good, but dude, come here. I'm good. Did he go, how does Captain Marvel make you feel? Tell me about your mother. That sucks, Darth Gorbag. Flavius Alicanther for £5. Hey, Gary and chat. First time I've caught you live in some time. Keep on keeping on. Blame my absence on my cursed medical history. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. We live streamers are keenly aware that we have a lot of people who watch us who like Bird of Prey 5 is the poor guy's bedridden. And Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey has had his health problems, and this is all widely known. He's talked about it in the chat and stuff. And Flavius, any kind of enjoyment or relief we can give you, that would make it worth it. I'm really sorry. Yeah, shoot me an email, Flavius. Gary at nerdrotic.com. Eric K for $5. Gary, when do you think you will go to the San Jose Comic Convention? I might try to make the drive over the hill out your way. I'm going to be there all the days. So I think is it 3 or 4? I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If there's Thursday, I probably will skip. But I'm going there as a trusted member of the press. So I will be down there. I'll probably go. So it's the Silicon Valley Comic Convention. It is not this weekend, but next weekend. But yeah, make it out, Eric, and we'll meet up because we missed each other in Vegas. Yeah, make it out. Drive over the hill. I'll be there. And it's just going to be me. I was going to take my kid, and I got to scout the place out first. Not that I'm a cautious fellow. You could never be too cautious, Norwegian Kryptonian for 55 Norwegian crowns. I had a dream last night. I was reading a DC Star Trek Next Generation DC Star Trek Next Generation crossover. The Borg had traveled back in time and assimilated Krypton. Bummed out waking up. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. I would have read that. I have all the Star Trek crossovers. Listen, I love the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover. So good. Assimilation 2.0. That sounds like a good... I'd pitch that. Well, you don't want to pitch anything to DC nowadays. That's my next video. They are done. They're done. It's all done. It's done. It's just a matter of time. Now, I did reach out to a couple comic book retailers on this subject. One of them said it's bullshit propaganda and nothing to see here. And the other one said it's a serious problem. And that's kind of the way things are. Did you get the email with Twilight Zone box? Or did you get the email with Twilight Zone box? Asked TJ Paris for $2. Yes. Yes, I'll respond to it after the show. Bald Eagle, thank you very much for the $2 and the email. By the way, TJ, thank you so much. Bald Eagle, 1787, $10. Hail, Gary. Been a while since I've caught you live. Just thought I'd let you know that when Alita came, we sold out of all the Blu-rays on the first day. Unlike Captain Marvel, no movement for months. Where do you work at, Bald Eagle? The boutique Target that I showed you guys on my Twitter, all those Captain Marvel Blu-rays are still there. And I showed that picture on Twitter, 2 weeks ago? They're all still there. I love that Alita is doing well on the back end. I thought it would, and that does my heart good. Because it shows... I don't know if we'll get a sequel, but as long as it does well, it turned out to be a pretty big hit, by the way. In the long run, it turned out being, it could have been a bigger hit, but it turned out being a hit. So the movie did well. Now, I've never understood, well, I do understand, just because one guy said he liked it, Jack Posobiec, all of a sudden it became some alt-right thing. I don't know much about Jack Posobiec, I gotta admit, but I don't think the dude's really alt-right. Isn't he just right-wing? That's what's happening now. And that's what is very disconcerting about what's going on with Rosanna Arquette's statement and stuff. It's like, you're starting to think that the people in the center are racist Nazis. And listen, the people on the right aren't either. Okay. It's a very fringe, few, insignificant number. But the narrative is what's the most important thing. But the thing is, this is a dangerous narrative, and it's getting more dangerous, and it needs to be stopped within entertainment. Like, I don't play in the politics stuff because I don't know enough about it. But within here, that's why it's being exacerbated by entertainment. They're pushing this, and they're using things I love to do it. That's foul. It's insidious. Two Hands for $5. Disney is the addict in the family that everybody keeps giving money to destroy themselves and everybody around them. That is a great example, Two Hands. Thank you for the $5. I agree. Nah, it's good. Lagging. The horse and buggy that runs our internet in Oklahoma may have died. I've got a hamster running mine, a gerbil. Hamster gerbil, a jamster. $5. Thank you, Modalicious. Loquacious Primate, $5. Saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night. Not sure how I feel overall. Wasn't my favorite Tarantino movie. Did you get to see it yet? No. Loquacious, I'll probably get it when it's on video, to be honest with you. Well, is it filmed in, what is it, 70 millimeter? Like, The Hateful Eight was? I haven't seen The Hateful Eight. Tarantino of late, it runs along for me. I think, you know what really pissed me? The only Tarantino movie to piss me off was Grindhouse. So I loved Planet Terror for Grindhouse. I thought that was just fucking great. Robert Rodriguez part of Grindhouse, I thought it was freaking excellent. And then Death Proof came out, which I thought would be the better film. Freaking Kurt Russell. And it was foot fetish and lots of talking in a car. And I wanted everybody to die by the end of that, including myself. And I saw a free screening of it. And, he needs an editor now. I love his early work. And one of my all-time favorite movies was written by him. Okay, True Romance. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Never sell out, Gary. We love you. $2 from V. Well, thank you. I won't. I promise you. Cracklin, $4.99. My older brother got into choose your own adventure books before getting into comics. Were you ever into those? No, I wasn't. I think I don't know, maybe I was too old, or, comics were the only thing I read, unless it was like a UFO book, or like I'll read, there's certain books that'll, like I read everything Stephen King, everything Dean Koontz, and, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Hitchhiker, Song of Ice and Fire, but like everything else is straight up comic books or non-fiction UFO books, like Graham Hancock. I've read everything Graham Hancock. Mr. Roboto, $5. As a shop owner, could comics go full digital, a la 3D printers and downloads, original print for collectors? Nah. I think if you want to do that at home and make your own books, I think that's interesting. But no, that wouldn't work. Once something goes digital, you can pirate it, and it makes it undercuts the value. And comic books is all value and lower print runs, and there's a reason, like those facsimiles that DC puts out. I mean, Dan Didio bitched about it. They're selling better than the newer comics because people like the vintage aspect, and DC Comics hasn't figured out, hey, maybe if we dial back our stories and we make our comics look vintage and maybe print them on pulp and make them cheaper, maybe they'll fucking sell better. And that was another thing I brought up constantly. And you know what I was told? So I asked, first year I came in a comic store, I'm like, I want to know this question. I want to know it now. Why aren't we printing on pulp anymore? And I was told at the time that, well, the pulp was on these big rolls and it's more expensive. It's actually cheaper to print on the more expensive paper. Well, later I found that was bullshit, and it's still cheaper to print on pulp. And, and Alterna is doing it. I love capitalism, but when you have big corporations in control of the comic book industry, the only thing that can truly save it right now is something a corporation would never do. They would rather shut down than reduce a price. And that's all they need to do. Well, they need to bring in better writers and creators, and they're out there. They'd be easy to get them. Tell more traditional stories, print it on pulp, $1.99 for a comic, and you're back in business. But they don't want to do that. They look at it as going backwards. Well, maybe that would help right now, but I don't even want to offer suggestions to Marvel and DC anymore, because they don't want to listen to me because they're filled with assholes like this. Let's expose this dingleberry. Well, Soph got shut down. I saw Soph's video on YouTube. Oh, wow. I've seen worse, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was bad, but that's just me. There he is, right there. Salad Ahmed. This guy, he must have got picked on a lot. I don't know. But here's more of this ingratitude. You know, there's places on the world that if you said this about your government, you would probably get gulagged. From Bounding into Comics, from Jorge Arenas, Marvel Comics writer Saladin Ahmed, we live in an omnipresent culture of misogynist white supremacist violence. This kid doesn't know what that is. He has no idea what he's talking about. He put together, I got some big words. Let's put omnipresent and misogynist in a sentence together. It's talking points from the extremist Antifa. I mean, like, you know, again, if Alita is an alt-right movie, then Marvel Comics is an Antifa comic book company. It's an Antifa sympathizer, Saladin Ahmed, which I'm probably not far off by saying that, right? He probably is. Thinks we're in a culture of violence. Well, no, we're not. We're in pretty good damn times right now. And this is usually, you know, some pampered little artist who, you know, lives in an echo chamber, doesn't get told no a lot because he probably gets a lot of adoration for being a Z- celebrity, and probably listens to reads his mentions too much, where people are praising him because he says the right omnipresent misogynist words in a sentence to get a lot of likes. Whatever this dude is, healthy is not it. Healthy people don't say things like this out loud. If he really thinks we live in this culture, he really thinks so, why would you want to live here then? Leave. Again, leave. I mean, if it's so bad. Listen, if I thought things were bad, I would tell you, and you guys would tell me. It's if you don't live in the United States and you hear idiots like this, you would think it's a hellhole here. Like people are shooting each other all the time. And no, it's actually just a big country with, 1/3 of a billion people. And generally, let me tell you how peaceful America is. Most people in this country will stop at a four-way stop. We have four-way stops here in this country. Again, if you're not in this country, we have stop signs everywhere, even in the middle of fucking nowhere. So say you're in Utah, desert for miles. You're in the Monument National Forest. There isn't a person, it's pretty flat. You can see for 30 miles. There isn't a soul around, and you hit a four-way stop. Most Americans will stop at that four-way stop. I will stop at that four-way stop. We are very civilized and very polite on the whole. When you look at us as 330 million fucking people, yes, we're going to have some psychos in there. That's part of freedom. It's the price of freedom. But this jackhole doesn't know shit about shit. The places I've been, dude, this guy wouldn't last. He would be somebody's girlfriend instantly. Okay? He doesn't know shit about shit. Let him pop off. I'm sure he sounds great. I'm sure NPR would just love to have him on to spew his propaganda. But dude, I will debate this dude anytime. He has an open invitation to come on my channel, and let's have a little debate about what's omnipresent culture of supremacist violence. Because I'll tell him where it exists and where I've experienced it, but I doubt he has. And listen, this is the result of baby boomer culture. and pretty much being in control of Hollywood for the whole time. You know, Hollywood used to be a somewhat neutral place. I mean, they've always kind of leaned left, but it's never bothered me. Not until recently. But listen, it's been no secret that Marvel Comics creatives have always been like this. But again, they've known when to keep their mouth shut, and that's all we're asking. I'm not asking him to change his politics. He can be as dumb as he wants to be. It's a free country for now, unless assholes like him get in charge. But yeah, what a moron. It's the face of a moron. Yeah, I'm getting personal because that's a dumb statement, and it's rhetoric. And it's pushing this narrative that just doesn't exist. They want it to so badly, though. They do, and that's the weird thing. Listen, presidents get elected into office that I don't like all the time, but I don't want the place where I live to suffer because I need to be right. But there are so many people out there that just need to be effing right that they'd rather burn their own house down. But I was right. See, I was right. I mean, I have no place to live in my countries, but I was right. You know, Saladin's mom probably shouldn't have left him in daycare that long. I don't know. I don't care. You know, thanks to the fabulous Bounding into Comics for bringing this. This needs to be brought up when it gets brought, because you know what? Again, you need to mock this because, I mean, it's stupid. He probably learned these words recently. You know, the guy was probably given a job based on his name, I'm guessing, more than his talent, and it probably gets to him. You know what? It would get to me if I was a diversity hire. I'd secretly be pissed. Of course, I'd still take the job, but then you'd know deep in your heart that you weren't hired for your talent, and everybody around you knows you're not hired for your talent, and it probably makes you a little angry and resentful. I get it. But instead of maybe, I don't know, getting better, he got his foot in the door. Instead of taking that opportunity to get better, he's just going to go and, you know, spout that the place that allows him to write funny books for a living is an omnipresent culture of misogynist white supremacy violence. Although he is free to write his funny books and whatever he wants in his cartoon funny books. Cartoon funny books that I like, but on the grand scheme of things, they're meaningless. Again, if the Smod comes down and destroys us all, the sweet meteor of death, that's Smod. Being a comic book writer will not put you very high on the food chain. You'll be a Golga Frenchum, okay, if you guys know your hitchhiker lore. Yes. He'll be on the B-Arc with hairdressers and documentary filmmakers. Oh, we gave her 2 sticks. We gave him 2 sticks to rub together to invent fire. What did they do with them? Oh, she made scissors out of them. Now, if you know what I'm talking... Okay, so Earth was seeded by the cast-offs of a planet that wanted to get rid of a useless third of their population. So they made up a story that there was going to be something was going to destroy the planet, and they put like all the documentary filmmakers and all the telephone sanitizers and hairdressers on an ark. And they kept all the artists and the scientists and what they thought the important people were, and got rid of a useless third of our population. And that's what seeded the Earth. Unfortunately, the people who got rid of them all died from a sickness they got from a dirty telephone, because they got rid of the telephone sanitizers. That's the genius of Douglas Adams. And I'm telling it poorly, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, back to the super chat, then I'll get to the chat. How's everybody doing? You okay today? Is everybody all right? That's great. Have you watched the have you and the missus watched Bronson that I sent? Eric, we got it. We haven't watched it yet. We just got back. So we'll probably watch it this weekend. She said it looked pretty awesome. But thank you, Eric, for $2. Has no one at these con panels just went off angry at producers and creators? Why don't you care? How can you justify constant failure. Anything, not that I've witnessed, Captain Spire, for $5, but that sounds like it sounds like maybe it's time for somebody to do that. Now you risk getting kicked out of the con forever, but possible you'd probably be an internet legend for a day. I mean, it might be worth it. Yeah. I mean, the best thing to do would be passionate, no personal, don't call anybody a name or don't call them an F and A hole, but do a mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore at the middle of a panel when somebody's talking about, well, we're bringing back, we're going to remake the original trilogy. This is a pretend panel. So Kathleen Kennedy's out there and we're making an announcement at D23. We're going to remake the original trilogy, but we're going to do it with diversity. That is the first priority. So Luke Skywalker will be recast as a black female, and Princess Leia will be an Asian male, and Chewbacca will be a real dog, and Han Solo will be a female, a white female, and she'll be British, and she'll be the lead. We don't care about the story. That's our priority. That's the point where you just like, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's what we need. Oh, and believe you me, they're going to remake the original trilogy and make it diverse. I'm only half joking. It's happening. I mean, they just remade The Lion King. I mean, you think they're not going to do that? They're going to fucking do it. The countdown is on. And if they need quick money, which they kind of need, oh yeah, original trilogy remade within 2 years. 2 years. We'll get an announcement within 2 years. That's my Nerdstradamus. A diverse original trilogy. Now, there is a way to remake the original trilogy to where I would consider watching. And it would be to adapt the radio show, the novel, which is a much longer story. And if you did it on television for 10 hours, but you'd have to make everybody look like everybody, and you couldn't make some diversity changes where you could, but no, it would have to, and it would still probably suck, but I'd be interested in that. Maybe. Probably not though. The Boys was very good. See, there's mixed reaction on this. The Boys was very good, and what did you think is a sign of the show being woke is actually a story plot. It says Thunder Robots for $5. And what I think of the sign of the show being woke is an actual story plot. No. They actually changed a couple things from the comic books for me too. There's 2 articles on it. Plus I've read all the comic books under Robots. So again, it's half good, but the woke changes bother me. They do bother me, and they are woke changes. They are 100% woke changes. But the thing is, this is where the culture war is being held. You have people liking The Boys. They haven't read the comic books, so they don't understand the changes that were made for political reasons. And honestly, people could have not believed me, but there's been 2 articles written for those changes and saying they did it for the Me Too era. I will show you. Bump, bump. God, it's going to be... God, you put The Boys, and that's really... Boys on Amazon, maybe. Here you go. Oh, no, I don't want to open that one. Oh, boy, that'll crash my fracking computer right now if that stays open. Okay, here we go. Capture the window. We want that. And okay. Business Insider, how the Me Too movement changed the boys' Amazon new superhero TV series. Would I lie to you guys? I wouldn't lie to you guys, okay? So, warning, this contains mid-spoilers for The Boys. The Boys creator Eric Kripke talked to Business Insider about how the Me Too movement changed a sexually assault storyline from the show. Every female producer on the show said, you have to do it because we've all experienced a version of it in varying degrees in our careers. Okay. That's saying something. So we're talking about female producers, and every female producer said that they experienced what they took out. Well, it's basically giving a character a Hummer. So every female producer has experienced that. It sounds like Hollywood's got to work a lot of shit out. Because I've worked in a lot of places and I have never, ever heard that. And ever. I'm absolutely sure it happened in Hollywood. It was called a casting couch. Everybody knows it. But, yeah, that's Hollywood. Sounds like Hollywood needs HR. But, and that wasn't the only decision. They also made some gender swaps. It's about recognizing the patterns, what's woke. Okay. So every opportunity they have in a TV show now, they have to show a woman in a position of power over a male, especially a white male, but it doesn't need to be white males anymore. It's just males now. And they need to show women mentoring men. Now, the ideology behind this is the movement towards a matriarchal society instead of an egalitarian society, which is what I would like, which is equal. It's a reaction to this patriarchal, but it's also it's feminism, but it's not real feminism. Okay, it's intersectional feminism, which is a political ideology. Big difference from feminism. So you watch, again, I pointed out that video. With all the TV I could watch, it would take me forever, but I could make a video pointing out every single moment of this was put in here, not for narrative reasons. It was put in to show, to push a political ideology for propaganda. There are 3 instances that I remember in the first 3 episodes. And you know what? F it. I'll make a video about it. God, it's going to get me in a lot of trouble with my friend, but I'm going to do it. Fine. Fuck it. I'll do it. I'll show you. And it's the same exact thing that happened in the Swamp Thing. If John F. Trent is out there from Bounding into Comics watching, he knows what I'm talking about. So Avery Sunderland, who is a tycoon in the Swamp Thing story from Alan Moore. He's got a lot of money. Well, there's a big change done in the TV show that makes him basically a beggar. He has to borrow money, and it's from a woman who happens to be his wife. Now, there are certain things within The Boys that were from the comic, and I understand that. I do, especially the Butcher's relationship with it's not Stillwell, it is Agent Susan Rayner. That's kind of taken from the comic, but they took away a major aspect of it. They took away a major aspect of it that turns it around, that shows positions of power for ideological reasons. I can't call it subtle anymore. It's whether you notice it. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Once you figure it out and you see it, and again, if it just happened in The Boys, wouldn't care. Wouldn't bother me at all. But it's happened in Doctor Who, Star Trek Discovery, Star Wars, Marvel Comics, freaking Endgame, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Swamp Thing, Titans, Legion, every effing show that I have watched outside of the Orville has done this. Every single one. And I'm afraid it's going to happen in The Expanse. It's happened in tons of movies that I haven't seen. I'm talking about just what I've seen. It's in everything. Everything. When you see it in everything, it's more than a pattern. Sorry. Wish I was talking crazy talk right now. All right. Selena Kyle, white men are being treated like, well, I can't say that out loud. Thank you for the $1.99, but that's going a little too, no, we're not. Not quite yet. Let's just say, we got to be careful when we say that. Because I don't think we will end, as a matter of fact, I know we won't end up in the same place that they did in World War II. Because, yeah, for reasons. But no, I can't say that out loud. I got limits on the stream. I do. I believe in free speech, but I'm not an absolutist. But I love you, man. I love you, man. I know what you were saying. But we got to be careful. We do have to be careful because when we single out any race as the bad guy, as we say in the recovery, you want to play the tape all the way through. What's the end game for that? I don't want to single out any group of people at all as bad guys, ever. There are individuals, there are bad actors, but I'm not anti anything. Okay. And listen, on some stuff, I'm pretty, I hate the word progressive because I've kind of always been this way for a long time. There's a lot of things that just don't bother me. My philosophy is don't tell me what to do and I won't tell you what to do. And we're cool. We're good forever. You can believe in what you want, worship what you want, love who you want. I don't care. As long as you don't tell me what to do. And that includes pronouns. And I will, if you ask nicely, I will certainly. But don't assume I'm going to assume that I know your pronouns, that I read your Twitter bio and I care because I don't, because I really don't. But this is all about power. It's not about diversity and acceptance, because true acceptance is acceptance, and everything is superficial. And I would really hate, God, if my life was centered around my, like, who I had sex with, like that's my entire identity is just who I have sex with. I don't get that. And you know what? The vast majority of gay people are not like that. So it's not the center of their lives. It'd be like my entire identity being wrapped around being a Lord of the Rings fan. I mean, I like Lord of the Rings, but it's not my identity. Like, if somebody breaks my Aragon Osmus figure, I'll be crushed forever and need therapy. No, just buy a new one. Riff Magus for Australian $5. Here's another super chat because you deserve it. Well, thank you. I have enough Star Wars EU books and back issues comics to not care about the woke agenda. Yeah, and that's what you can do, Riff. There is plenty of comic book back issues. There is plenty of stuff to read that I haven't read, that you haven't read, that can get us through a couple years, no problem. And if we just simply stop buying the shit, stop buying it directly from them. I mean, if you really need something new, buy it secondhand on eBay. That's what I do. My John Pertwee Blu-ray, I bought it from somebody on eBay. I didn't give the BBC. I give them a little bit of money because I subscribe to Big Finish, but not much. Das Bootma. And listen, I kind of owe Big Finish some money because back when I sailed the high seas, I might have got a lot of Big Finish stuff. Canadian $2. We need Rogue to give Captain Marvel a big hug. We really do. Das Bootman for Canadian $2. Yes, we do. Hi, a big hug and a kiss. I've never been as big a Rogue fan as I am now. High Tech Lowlife for Australian $5. Gary, have you seen the 2000 AD fan film Judge Minty? No. Oh, I got to watch that. I will watch that. 2000 AD rules in every single way. Eli McGinnis, 199. Hail, Gary. When is the next Exozone? Tomorrow. 1 p.m. Pacific time. On my first coffee listing from Australia, remember your gifts. Peter Davison, Australia, $10. Why, thank you, sir. And yes, when I get by that P.O. box, which will be tomorrow. Thank you, my friend. And g'day. G'day, Peter. Say hi to Mum for me. JPRPH1 for $4.99. Really enjoyed your con and STLV live streams and vids. Oh, good. I'm glad you did. The Star Trek ones, I'm sorry they cut out. I feel bad. Changing rooms for the Inquisition was much appreciated. Yes. So I couldn't jump on the Inquisition right away because I was having internet problems in my room that I paid a lot of money for. So I demanded a new room and they gave me one. And I got the whole family up from the pool. We moved rooms and I got on the Inquisition. We made it happen. Bald Eagle, 1787, $5. I work at Best Buy. We got a new shipment of Alita in 2 days ago and they're all gone. Also got a crap ton of copies of Endgame. It's annoying. I don't even know if I want, I'm not going to buy Endgame. I'm not. I made that decision. I watched it again. I watched the last half hour in Vegas and I'm like, this is depressing as hell. I don't want to watch this ever again. It was saying goodbye to the MCU. It was lackluster. It was, the 5-year jump is ridiculous. I can't get over it now. I might have to re-review the movie. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a Blu-ray review. It won't be nice. Sorry. Nina Fabiano for $10. Curious, what is your D&D class? My D&D class. My D&D class. What? I don't know what that means. Nina, explain. What's D&D? Maybe I'm a little slow. Hang on. If it's like Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know. Nina, I'm like, I'd never play. All my friends played it in high school, but I didn't. Oh, dude, I meant to call him. I'm sorry. Maybe it's something I need to learn. Maybe I should try it. It's been many years. Maybe I should try Dungeons and Dragons. I tried it before. I don't have a lot of patience for that stuff, but maybe. One of my ex-co-hosts started a Dungeons and Dragons Twitch channel. I don't know how it's doing. I haven't talked to him a lot. Busy on the channel. It's TK Games or something. Yeah. The Grand Inquisitor, $2. Still waiting for Dave Cullen to come on the stream. I need to call him. I'm a bad YouTuber. So I meant to live stream or get him on Skype, and then I went to Vegas. When I thought of it, it was like 2:00 in the morning over there. So I was like, I'm not going to, and then I forgot, and then it blanks out of my head. I suck. I basically suck. Yeah, I need to call Dave Cullen immediately. But when we get on a live stream, we're going to talk for like 5 hours. Mild Peril for £2. True Romance, Badlands, same film, but what's the best? Oh, True Romance. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, True Romance is a better film. It's got a comic shop. Dark Admiral March Hare for $1.99. Alternaween 2 is live on IGG right now. On IGG. Instagram? Is that like Alterna's, is it like a live stream or something? I don't know. Armchair Warlord for $2. Have you took a look at my book yet? You'd enjoy. The one that you sent, Armchair Warlord, I have not. I told you it's going to be a while. It'll probably be by the end of the year. Yeah, books are like, novels are tough for us, folks. I'm going to speak for all YouTubers on this one. It's making content doesn't allow us a lot of time to read novels, unfortunately. It'll have to be done in pieces. But yeah, I listen. This is an 8 hour a day job. This is an 8 to 10 hour a day job. I have to work for 4 more hours after this. I have to make 2 videos, and it's going to be 2 hours each to finish them easily, and it's almost 5. Holy shit. My time. Will Gentry, 5 pounds. Kids like Mr. Omnipresent there did need to live in a Brazilian favela for a week. Then he'd realize the real struggles and real privilege is. Yes, Will. He just get him into Tijuana. Just get him off the main drag at Tijuana, and he'll know what it's like. Native Ronin for $10. Gary, did you hear about the movie called Hunting at the Manor, where a dozen MAGA types who wake up in a clearing and realize they're being stalked for sport by elite liberals? It's crazy. No, I will have to check that out. That's hilarious, and probably our future. Who knows? Peter Davison, $10. Salad tossed brain damage. Yes, Peter. They're talking about Salid. Solid Amanad. Solid. I'm just going to call him Salad. Yeah, salad tossed brain damage. Thank you very much. DA Canadian, $5. New fan. In the last month, I've been watching all your videos. I love your content. I am a creator too. Favorite story? Mine is Fear Itself. I'll get back to you on that. Mr. T, $5. Hey, bro, great show. Is it true that the mouse now owns the Planet of the Apes franchise? I think Fox did. I can check. I think they do. That's bad. Well, I mean, they'll screw it up. I think they will screw it up. But yes, I think they do. Didn't Fox own? Yeah, I think so. You know what? They'll just, yeah. They'll. You know, there's certain jokes you just don't make. Mr. T for $5. Hey, bro, great show. I read that one. Selena Kyle for $1.99. MGTOW Sandman gave Nerdrotic thumbs up on his YouTube channel. Who's that? Wait. He did? Hang on. Your abbreviations. Oh, there. Okay. Well, that's cool. I love getting thumbs up. I really do. Sorry for the silence there, folks. God. Adega Outlaw for $14.99. Saladin is a product of the modern college system. Fuck yeah, he is. Now he'll say anything to pay back his loans. Well, you know, I always just say if you want change, start look in the mirror. Look at the man in the mirror. For one, I would shave that beard. I would. Doesn't make him yeah. It's not ironic. It's horrid. Clockwork Badger for $10. Love the show. Love you too, man. Thank you. I appreciate the $10. And thank you for the $14.99, Adega. I'm sorry. It took me a second. Brain register, not words. Psycho Dwarf 9, $5. Spent 2.5 years on a nuclear target. Homeless twice. Caught an arrow. Married twice. Divorced twice. These twits are triggered by words. Fem. F-em. Yes, F-em. On a nuclear target. Yeah, well, I spent, was homeless as a teenager, spent 4 years at a bad place, a lot of years struggling, been married twice, been divorced once, yeah, the kids, they have a good life and they can't enjoy it. And that's too bad. And that's the worst part about this. I mean, if you want to have dumb politics, go ahead, but no gratitude. I don't know. I keep losing my spot here. Okay. It Ninja for $2 gonna start a PHAAF woke streaming service. You in? Yes. Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, I mean, I don't know. Should I start live streaming other places? I mean, now that Ninja's gone, I can fill the void over at Twitch. I'm just kidding. He got like 1 million subs in like a couple days on Mixer. I honestly, I'd never even heard of the service. Did you guys? I didn't know Microsoft had a streaming service. Is it going to be relevant? Should I care? I live stream a lot. Maybe I should move my live stream somewhere. I don't know. I kind of like it here. I'm fine. We'll see. We'll see. I got to start doing a Twitch live stream. I said I would. Maybe that'll be my Saturday night one. But don't you have to like live stream a couple times a week? I don't know. I Twitch is fine. I don't mind Twitch. Mixer, I have never heard of, but I'm 50. So Captain Robert April, $2. Mile High Comics Amazing Fantasy 15 is 73,000. What? $73,500. Wow. Well, that's probably, that's too much, by the way. You could still get a good copy for what, 16,000? Well, you used to be able to get them for like 1,000. If a VG plus G minus is $73,000, then fuck yeah. I haven't checked the value since I sold the shop. Wow. That like shot up. That's crazy. Adel Moke. Okay. Adel Mork off Diddle for 55 Norwegian crowns. What did you think about the boys? I like the actors, especially Homelander, alas, compared with the comics. It was weak stuff, just like with Preacher. Yeah, it's a mixed bag. There was great performances, but there was too much agenda put in, and like I said, it just keeps bugging me. On the first watch, I liked it, and then I always watch something twice before I review it, and I'm like, and I said a long time ago. Now there's a lot of new people on the channel because I know Derek. I'm horribly compromised, and I put off my review because I don't. I mean, he's my friend. It's my friend, but I've got to be honest. So I'm like, I don't know. I'll do it on the other channel, but he'll still see it. So I might as well do it. I don't know, but the Me Too and agenda changes bug the shit out of me. I wish I could say different. Mephisto Knight for $1.99. I love your show. Say arse the proper way. Arse. How is that? I don't know. That's how I say it. Arse. Am I saying it improperly? King Arcurus for $2. It makes my brain hurt when I see this SJW crap. And your brain must be hurting a lot like mine is, my friend. It's spraining my thinking. My thinking has been sprained. My cringe muscle is well developed now. Mr. Peace Frog for $5. When the Misfits play your city, can you get Jerry only on the show? Would he come on? Sure. I'll get anybody on the show. I don't care. As long as they talk. Angela Richter for $2. Mad props for sailing the high seas. I used to. Thank you. Valentine's 2 for $2. The one series that they didn't touch is Red Dwarf. Hail. Well, good for them. Ryan, isn't Red Dwarf? I'm trying to think of a good music analogy for Red Dwarf. I mean, they're kind of like the Grateful Dead of television. I mean, they just stay on forever and just go and don't become the biggest thing in the world, but it's still successful enough to go, Ryan Cannell, RK Outpost, $5. I just put out a video on my top Star Wars EU stories back when it was real Star Wars. You're killing it lately, Gary. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Fist bump back. Captain Spire for $5. Would you like Ask Doomcock to join our next Discord DC Live on one-on-one chat just so we can see how it goes and see if there's something you'd like to do. Yeah, Captain Spiral, sure. On Discord. I have a Discord, sure. I've done it. I mean, I've been on EFAP. Sup, Mahler? I don't know if he's in. I haven't checked the chat, but I can't bring anybody on right now anyway. Okay. Hey, Logan. Hang on, sorry. I got to mute the microphone. Check. You can still hear it. Hang on. I'll just get it later. That was probably the mailman. I heard my dogs barking. Gary, a couple of people in the chat have suggested Chimbal left and Jody rumors. Is this true, please? Well, I did a video on it about a year ago. Let me see. All I keep seeing is my videos. Nope, that's old. Give me a second. I'm checking. Radio Times. No, I don't see anything. But I mean, it could have just happened. I don't know. That'd be great. I'd be freaking. You know what news keeps getting talked about like over and over again? The Torchwood Doctor Who reunion movie. That shit is not going away. Fucking John Barrowman is smart, and he knew when to drop that. And it sucks because it won't happen, but it's completely outdoing anything news-wise. And they talked about the Cybermen returning, and people want to talk about Doctor Who Torchwood movie, which I don't want being made by the BBC because it would just be woke, stupid shit like everything else. But I would love to see it someday. If Russell T Davies was in charge and he was able to make it exactly like he did back in the day, which was, let's just make a fun show, and it's already diverse. You already have a gay male lead, showing that this is all bullshit because we've had Captain Jack forever. But I believe they are leaving after next season. I think Doctor Who needs to get unfucked like Star Trek does. Lori Wilson, has Chibnall really left Doctor Who series? I keep hearing rumors on this chat. Guys, mods. Is it, again, it could be announced on Twitter. I just Googled it. That's, here, let me try one more thing. If that's the case, then I got to go and make a video like right now and go, I told you so, but I would never do that. I would never do that. Well, the one place, I hate to say it, but Twitter's like the fastest place you can learn from the chat. Now, I don't see anything, but again, I could be just missing it. You get my hopes up. It's going to happen eventually. But I don't think they would announce it. Would they announce it? Well, it'd be around the time. Nah, I'd still think they take a little time, but they do have to announce it if they're going to change doctors. If they're going to cancel the show, then they'll just wait or not say anything. But Lori Roberts, Lori Wilson, my apologies, Lori. My humble apologies. There's Lori Roberts, and then there's Lori Wilson for $5. Terrible, bad YouTuber. I want it to happen. I do. And I think it will happen within the next calendar year. Maybe it's out there now. Again, I'm completely missing it. I'm getting messages right now, but I tend to ignore those while I'm live streaming. Oh, that was my iPad. Sorry. Nope. Nothing that I know of. Okay. Thank you, Lori, for the $5. Robert Odom for $5. Finally have a few bucks to send. Well, thank you. If it's your last few bucks, don't send it. Please. Please don't. Keep your money. I mean, yes, I need super chats. They're great. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I do this. And I keep the content going. I hope I'm earning it. But if it's your last few bucks, please, for the love of God, keep it. Been wanting to ask about your light bulb there. Does it react to sound? Good vids, FYI. Thank you. No, actually, it's the flicker rate on the camera. All right. So it is, it's supposed to be a torch light bulb. So I got it at Home Depot, and you're supposed to put it on an outside light, and it's supposed to simulate a torch. It's exaggerated by the flicker rate on the camera, though. It just slowly goes. I didn't turn it on. I have my lava lamp back there, and I've got my salt rocks that I got to bring out that are glowy salt rocks. Young Ripa's got a couple. I have like 3 of them that I haven't put up yet that look like, they look like they're from the set of Star Trek. And I got to put those out, but no, it's a cheap light bulb. It's LED too, so it'll run forever, hopefully. Thank you, by the way. Nathan O'Brien, $1.99. Red Dwarf is nerd core rap. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to. Red Dwarf is Red Dwarf, man. It just is. It lasts forever, and people love it, but it never gets bigger than it is. Which, I mean, I like that. That's a compliment. I wish the comic industry would have done that. I wish it would have just gotten a certain size. And it was that for a while. But then we sold out to the MCU, and was it worth it? We got the MCU, but I'll tell you right now, other than a couple movies, they're pretty good, but they're not very good comic adaptations at all. They're not really good interpretations of the character. I'm sorry. Chris Evans, Captain America, is a good Captain America, but it's nothing like the comic book. Like zero. The costume never looked very good. Maybe it doesn't translate well, but he was a good Captain America, but nothing like Steve Rogers from the comic book. Zero. Nothing like him at all. But he was still acceptable. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. That's great. Mark Ruffalo, yeah, he was a decent Bruce Banner. Chris Hemsworth was a perfect Thor for a while. Elizabeth Olsen is a terrible Scarlet. She's okay in the MCU, but she's not a good Scarlet Witch. And we're talking about adapting from the comic book. She doesn't look anything like her. It's more Ultimate than anything else. Adam Child, $4.99. Gary, wanted to say hi. Would love to meet you next time in San Francisco. Thanks for not remaking your old content. Any updates on your Orville fan video? 2 weeks on that. Star Trek Las Vegas put me way behind on everything. But I'll have it out before I go to Silicon Valley Comic Con. I'm also doing a little write-up for Bleeding Fool that goes along with it. So, but I got to make sure. I mean, listen, it's the video that'll probably get the fewest views, but it's the one I got to work the hardest on because it's got to be right. Because I want it to have legs. I want people to watch it a year from now and still like it. Like a lot of my videos are just topical. So I'm going to go and make sure I haven't missed anything here. I'll catch it on Friday if I missed anything. Friday Night Tights returns, by the way, this Friday, by the way. So it returns. I'm home for a little while. Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast. Backwards World. Great episode from Red Dwarf. I think Elizabeth Olsen is unattractive. I don't get the appeal. She's fine. I mean, she's not a very good Scarlet Witch. I'm a stickler for costumes, and I don't like her non-costume coat thing. Just like I hate Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. I think he'd be a good Hawkeye if he had a costume, but he doesn't look like Hawkeye. He looks like a G.I. Joe. No offense to G.I. Joe, but I mean, he doesn't look like fracking Hawkeye at all. And I listen, as time went on, they wore their costumes less. Black Widow looked terrible at the end. Terrible. She looked her best in Winter Soldier. She looked like Black fracking Widow in Winter Soldier and in Iron Man 2. She actually, like, with the wig and everything, she looked great. But all of a sudden the cleavage is bad because we can't sew cleavage because patriarchy, everything sucks and you suck. Porter Stanley for $49.99. Get Streamlabs so you can get all my money. You, Ripa EVS, are my top guys I listen to. I enjoy the non-wokeness. Well, to be put in a group with such excellent and admirable YouTubers as Ripa and EVS, who are masterful YouTubers, is an honor. That is an honor. Thank you very much, Porter. I do have Streamlabs, and it will be set up when I have my PC on Friday. So, but I will be doing another live stream tomorrow on Nerdrotic Live. If you have not subscribed to Nerdrotic Live, we just passed 10,000 subscribers over there, by the way. .com/C/Nerdrotic Live. There is the link right there. Okay. There you go. Now I must go. I must leave now. So I'm going to make some videos. Everybody, we had a huge audience today. We still have 1,352 people watching now, but it's been jumping all around. I don't know if that's right. But we had damn near 1,800 watching today. That is fantastic. I was worried how the algorithm would treat OBS, and well, you guys have confirmed things are going okay. So Gary will be politically correct by Friday. Oh yes, Squids McCracken, I got you there. I got you. No, I won't. I promise you I won't. But please go to nerdrotic.com for my live stream schedule. Thank you for all the super chat donations. I greatly appreciate. Thank you for coming here. And yes, I'm going to start doing weekly live streams next week, and it will be staggered. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday here on the main channel, Tuesday, Thursday on Nerdrotic Live, and I guess, Saturday, Twitch. Saturdays will be Twitch day. I don't know. Yeah, Twitch. I don't care where Ninja goes. I don't honestly, I'm not really aware of who he is or was, but I'm going to be bringing on some guests. I'm going to be trying to bring on some big guests, like some YouTubers I've been wanting to talk to quite some time. And there are going to be a lot of fun things happening. I'm going to start working on the pop-up, and we're going to get our Indiegogo thing going for that soon. I'll let you know. In the meantime, have a great day. Thanks for watching. And let's see if I can get this fanciness going again. Well, that's kind of it's not very fancy when I have to like set it up. No, I gotta work on that a little bit. I don't want to get rid of that. There we go. But I can end with this. Everybody have a great day, and not all who wander are lost.